News Radio, I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top story this hour. Huntsville leaders have been able to get water back into people's homes, but it's still not drinkable. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has the latest.
It's now been nearly a full 3 days since the town had to shut off water completely due to a major leak in the system. But late last night, Huntsville Mayor Richard Sorensen posted an update on social media saying they've at least found a way to get water to people's taps so they can do things like flush their toilets. But
we still have the boil order. The water is not treated.
Sorensen says they may have to periodically shut off the water again as they continue to look for the leak. They're also asking people to conserve as much as possible, saying they hope to have the problem completely cleared up by midweek. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
City leaders in Orem have rejected a plan to rezone and build more housing near Wilkerson Farm and the Canyon Park Tech Center at 1203 North 630 East. The City Council says it's important to preserve the nature and land in the area. The discussion will continue in a few months when the council looks at the application again. A scientific breakthrough could give women hope struggling with fertility.
The world's first baby conceived using a new IVF procedure has been born in a Peru clinic. The technology, called Fertilo, allows eggs to mature outside the body, reducing the need for hormone injections by up to 80%. It promises safer and less invasive IVF, but the procedure is still in Phase 3 trials in the U.S. and years away from widespread use.
That's ABC's Dave Packer. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 31 to 43,859, and that is up just under 0.1%. Coming up, we've got cloudy skies and maybe a skiff of snow later tonight. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 9:01.
What's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the nines, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Hey, holiday heroes. It's a special time of year at Shane Company. As a family business for 4 generations, we know firsthand that fine jewelry is the gift that says it all. From the engagement ring that says, "You're the one," to the diamond tennis bracelet that says, "Thank you for being you." We have the widest selection of fine jewelry gifts, in stock and ready to take home. Come pick out a pair of hand-matched diamond stud earrings or a necklace with a colorful gemstone. Check out our new Bloom collection, one of owner Tom Shane's favorites this year, featuring stunning sapphires, emeralds, or rubies. At Shane Company, every gift and every price range is crafted to our high-quality standards. We have jewelers working in every store to bring your gifts to life, making sure rings fit just right, setting center stones and engagement rings by hand, and engraving your pieces to make your gifts even more special. Your gifts will always be protected with our unmatched free lifetime warranty. Visit shaneco.com and come see us in store. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
If you love to travel, Capital One has a rewards credit card that's perfect for you. With Venture X, earn unlimited double miles on everything you buy and turn everyday purchases into extraordinary trips. Plus, receive premium travel benefits like access to over 1,300 airport lounges where you just check in and chill out. Open up a world of possibilities with Capital One. What's in your wallet?
Terms apply. Lounge access is subject to change. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. Here's Heather Kelly.
Not a lot of delays right now across the Wasatch Front. I-15 looks good throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties, both northbound and southbound. Although we are starting to pick up a bit of slowing northbound I-15 as you make your way through Clearfield, heading up towards 650 north. Haven't heard of a crash, though. And all the debris that we had earlier on 600 north in Salt Lake City at I-15 has been cleaned up. Tax problems keeping you up at night? Get the IRS off your back. Let Utah tax attorney Jordan Wilcox stop IRS harassment now. Visit taxhelput.com. That's taxhelput.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, we've got cloudy skies today, a chance of snow tonight, although it sounds like it's mostly going to be up in the mountains. Right now, it is 37 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, Dave is off this week. Taylor Morgan of Inside Sources. You hear him here almost every day from 1 to 3. He's one of our co-hosts for Inside Sources, sitting in today for Dave. Good morning, Taylor.
Happy to be here with you, Debbie. It is a great Monday, a lot happening. Boy, I'm really, really interested in this story about Huntsville and the water. Debbie, a lot of questions, really concerned about the folks up there.
Yeah, as we've been reporting all morning and all weekend long, there's been a major failure of that town's water system. In a moment, we're going to speak live to a resident who lives there. We've got another resident lined up to call after that because I want to know what life has been like for the last few days. We're on day number 4 of this water crisis in Huntsville. And also our very own KSL legal analyst, Greg Skordas, lives in the town right next door of Eden. So he's going to call in with his perspective of what's going on up there. And then at 9:50, the mayor of Huntsville joining the show live to give us the latest on how in the world they managed to lose some 950,000 gallons of water before they apparently noticed there was a major leak in the system.
Debbie, and it's, as we have been getting into this story and talking about it this morning, you don't fully appreciate these basic things like just having running water and having clean water, being able to flush your toilets, Debbie. Right. I mean, this affects your life in such a huge way, right? And we take these kind of things for granted far too often.
We're going to get a live report in just a moment on our top story, a special hour.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Of the water crisis in Huntsville, Utah. Adam Small has been tracking this story all morning long. He is joining us in just a moment to give us the latest on boil orders, shower orders, when the leak might be fixed, if they've even found the leak. But the mayor of Huntsville using social media videos to keep residents updated. Of course, as I said, the mayor will be joining us live by phone at 9:50. And we're going to ask if crews have yet found the source of that leak. But here's one of the things that the mayor is talking about on social media, updating residents of Huntsville.
We appreciate all the support. We appreciate your patience and understanding. This is kind of an unprecedented crisis. This will probably go down in the history books as kind of a big event for 24 for sure. So this is our 100-year anniversary, and this is kind of a sad way we have to cap it off.
Yeah, they are definitely looking for answers up there in Huntsville. And then you and I just sat down and watched a video, Taylor, of them hooking up a fire hose. It looks like they were trying to figure out a way to bring water into the system using a fire hose. I guess this is what it looks like when your town runs out of water. You grab a fire hose and you attach it to a fire hydrant.
Yeah, and I'm not certain exactly where that fire hose was taking water to and from. We can ask the mayor about that, of course. But my understanding is that this connection with a fire hose is what is now allowing Huntsville residents to at least be able to flush their toilets, right?
We'll come out the building over here and come across the parking lot.
That's the mayor.
And we're going old school with by hooking it up to fire hydrant. We've had great support from the Weber Fire Districts. They're letting us use their equipment.
Okay, so it sounds like they're using a fire hydrant, which is connected to the Weber County fire water system. connecting that to the city of Huntsville's water system.
So they could at least get some water? Adam Small, KSL News Radio, you've been tracking this story all morning long for us. What do you know about whether they found the source of the leak yet?
Well, they haven't found it as of last word yet, Deb. So they've been looking for the last couple of days to figure out where this leak is. So they had to shut the water off on Friday. They've tried using drones, infrared technology. I believe they were also planning yesterday to inject some dye into the system to see if they can track the leak that way. They're still looking for it, but with that whole setup that you just described there with the fire hose and whatnot, they've at least been able to reroute some water back into people's homes. But the way they've routed it, it's not going through their water treatment plant. So there's a boil order still in effect, but at least people now can like flush their toilets, do basic things like utilities around the house that require water, which it's definitely a step in the right direction. I think it's also allowed some of those workers who've been working around the clock to find this leak to get a little bit of a moment. From what I've read in the latest that was on the town social media is that they hope to have this completely resolved by midweek is what it said. But as in terms of finding the leak, that's still an ongoing battle.
Yeah, Adam, can you tell us about the water system in Huntsville based on a post from the mayor on Friday who then described kind of how the system works, where the storage tank is? It sounds like the storage tank is 3,000 or 4,000 feet up on the mountain. That's where the water is stored. And then it uses gravity to flow down throughout the city of Huntsville. The issue is they're not able to pump the water up to the storage tank because of that leak. What is the capacity of that storage tank? How much water is there? Is any of that usable?
So the full capacity, I don't know off the top of my head, but it does make sense why they're having that problem because they basically said going into today, the first thing they need to figure out is how many gallons per second they're able to pump, because another issue with this rerouted water is really how fast and how strong can they pump that water through the system. And yeah, if it's going up to the storage tank, it's going to be a lot harder to fill that because you need enough pressure to get it up there, but also the fact that the leak's still not gone, and the system, like the storage has already been pretty depleted from the leak itself. So there is still some unanswered questions that I haven't been able to fully figure out myself. But yeah, the way they're doing it, the mayor did emphasize it's a temporary solution, but it's at least to the point that, again, people aren't having to go fill up like gallon jugs of water just so they can flush their toilets. But yeah, definitely something we hope to hear more from the mayor.
Well, and Adam, yeah, he's calling in about 45 minutes, so a little less than that. But I'm baffled over a couple of things, and we'll get clarity from him on this. 1 million gallons of water, and then somehow that seemingly disappeared.
Yeah, where does all that water go,
We don't know where that water went. And then on Friday, there's this announcement that they're down to 60,000 gallons left in the tank. So that's a question I have. And then also, what is the confidence level of residents that this thing will be repaired by midweek if they haven't even found the source of the leak, Adam?
Yeah, all great questions. Cost, I mean, I would hope there's some kind of emergency fund or maybe something that they can use. Again, that's or just kind of speculating there. But yeah, where that water is going, I mean, it's interesting to think about that too because of how cold it is now.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if that water is just being absorbed into the ground. I mean, I think a lot of that's going to be figured out as they actually find where that leak is. But yeah, it's a lot of water that's now mysteriously missing. And again, it's stuff we're still trying to figure out ourselves too here on my end.
Yeah, Adam Small, KSL News Radio. Thank you for joining us, keeping us updated on the water situation in Huntsville.
Straight ahead, we've got a full lineup of residents who live in Huntsville, live in the area about this water leak and what life has been like and what they're concerned about going forward. This has got to be every city manager, every town manager's worst nightmare.
Absolutely.
Wake up, find out that you're down to 60,000 gallons of water, and then to make matters worse, you cannot find the source of the leak. This is the Huntsville mayor. He's joining us at 9:50, speaking to residents on a social media video, saying that maybe now they can at least use their toilets.
So the good news is we will have some temporary water. There will be times throughout the next few days while we still try to find and fix this leak where we may have to shut that off to allow more water pressure and more flow. However, The big thing is we still have the boil order. The water is not treated. There's no chlorine or anything in it, but it is perfect for your toilets, or you can probably take a shower if you'd like.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Yeah. Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Ooh, up top, bike shop.
Yeah. It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messelthorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough Products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
Life can feel hard or overwhelming sometimes, but you don't have to face things alone. Getting help for yourself or someone you're worried about starts with a call or text to 988, where you always have someone to talk to, someone to help you, and somewhere safe to go. 988 Utah is here for anyone experiencing mental health challenges or emotional distress. 988 Utah can even help you navigate how to support your struggling loved ones. Whether you're struggling with anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, trained professionals are ready to listen and provide free, confidential support 24/7. Utah, don't hesitate to call or text 988 for you or someone you care about. The caring staff at 988 Utah can connect you to the right resources. Learn more at 988.utah.gov.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Andy Farnsworth. First, the water is back on in Huntsville, but there is a boil order in effect as the town continues to search for a leak in the system. Second, a former Motel 6 in South Salt Lake could become a homeless shelter after the city council approved plans for the change. Third, police are urging people to drive more cautiously after responding to multiple serious crashes over the weekend, 3 of which were fatal. Right now it's 37 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, imagine getting a notice from your city that basically the town is out of water. This is the town of Huntsville has been going through this. This is day 4. And we're going to speak live right now to residents who've been dealing with this for the last several days with what we think might be an end in sight if they can find the source of the leak. But at this point, we don't think they've found the source of the leak, Taylor.
No, not yet, Debbie. I can't imagine how difficult this is, how stressful this is. I have questions, of course, for the mayor of Huntsville, who will be joining us later in the show. How old is the water system, the infrastructure there? You know, Debbie, when I have a leak just in my sprinkler system in my yard and I can't find it, it is the most stressful thing. I can't imagine on this scale dealing with what is a massive leak, 900,000 gallons of water missing, Debbie. How did they find this leak?
A lot of the conversation that has been had so far on the part of the city much of it has been done over social media, and the mayor posting videos, also narrating like what's going on. And we saw a video of, it looked like, water officials attaching a fire hose, literally a yellow fire hose, to a fire hydrant to help fix the problem.
So here we are. We're going to bypass the water treatment plant and hook the fire hose on and get some temporary
So they're
water.
at least temporarily trying to get water to residents, but there does not seem to be the source of this leak does not seem to have been identified yet.
Yeah.
And if you're a resident who lives in Huntsville, that must be a daunting thought. Danae Palm happens to live in Huntsville. Good morning, Danae.
Good morning.
Walk us through what it's been like since Friday when word went out that the city, or the town, had a water crisis on its hands.
It's been a little crazy. People who have to do laundry, like we have a big family, so we're constantly doing laundry. It's not just a one time of the week thing. We've always got a load going and doing lots of dishes and, showers and baths. It's been hard not to be able to do those things at our home. But, yeah.
Danae, since the town of Huntsville has bypassed the water treatment plant, as we just listened to the mayor narrating this video that was posted on social media, they used a Weber County fire hydrant to bypass the water treatment plant and at least provide some water that is not potable. You can't drink it, but you can use it for toilets. You can maybe shower in it. Has that been a significant improvement for you?
Yes, we just barely got that last night. Like, as we were putting everyone to bed, we found out that we finally do have temporary water, which is such a blessing. We're very grateful.
So you can flush the toilets, take a shower, but not drink it.
Yeah, we can't drink it. We don't want to cook with it unless we boil it first.
Danae,
I don't brush my teeth with it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
And you have children?
Yes.
How tricky has that been?
Well, as of right now, I haven't had to deal with it yet, but because they're all at school now. But my husband and I want to be able to remind our kids, because we have some young ones who just have it to turn the faucet on and get a drink, and so we have to say, okay, we all have to make sure not to let the little one get a drink out of the faucet. We've got water bottles in the fridge. Make sure she gets that to drink. So.
Yeah, Danae, we know that the water was shut off on Friday. Is that right?
Yes.
How did you cope through the weekend? Were you able to shower at folks' homes that you knew, perhaps in Eden or close by? How did you get through the weekend without any water?
It's been such a blessing to live where we do. We have so many wonderful people who are just amazing friends. As soon as they found out that we didn't have water, they just reached out to everyone they could and said, please come use our laundry facilities. Please come take a shower at our house. Everyone, like so many people have offered. So we've really been overwhelmed with kindness. It has been such a blessing.
Danae,
so we honestly didn't have to worry about a thing. We were taken care of.
Danae, how would you rate the town's response to this situation?
Oh, they have been working tirelessly to make sure that we were not without water for a very long period of time. So the fact that they made this temporary use of water until they can find the leak, they wanted to make sure we were taken care of. And then the people in Eden were so great to share their resources with us. They turned on, they put spigots on fire hydrants, and we could go and fill up water as needed for those people who didn't have water, or if they used up all their water storage. So we never were really without need. We've been taken care of. It's been fine.
Danae Palm, Huntsville resident, thank you so much for joining KSL News Radio. Hang in there. We're hoping for the best for you. Really appreciate you taking a few minutes with us, Danae.
Let's flip the phone lines over to our very own KSL legal analyst, Greg Skordas, who lives in the town next door. You're right there. What's it been like up there for the residents? And remind us, like, where Huntsville Eden is and how many residents live there, Greg?
Yeah, we're just over the hill from Ogden, just east of Ogden. And if you think about where the Pineview Reservoir is, Huntsville, Eden, and Liberty, the three towns sort of circle that reservoir. We live up Eden, up towards Powder Mountain, sort of north and west of Huntsville. I think the whole valley probably has maybe 3,000 residents. I mean, it's quite small. And for us in Eden, we've been spared. I mean, our water system has been fine. Huntsville, just really literally 2 miles away, has had the problems. But I think most of us have been able to assist people. They can come up, they can fill their water jugs, whatever, from our hose bibs. We've, of course, put our hoses all away because it's freezing up here, and it was in the low 20s this morning. But they've had crews out constantly working, and I think that they've got at least some temporary water, like your last guest just said, so that they're at least able to do the sort of the basic needs. Some water is in the system right now.
Yeah, Greg Skordas, KSL legal analyst, joining us. Greg is a resident of Eden, of course. Greg, as you said, that neighbors the town of Huntsville there in the beautiful Ogden Valley. Greg, as you drive around in the valley there, is there any sign of water somewhere where it typically isn't? I mean, where did these 900,000 gallons of water go? Has the water level at Pineview risen a little bit? Do you see anything? Can it be that obvious?
That's the weirdest thing. There's a leak. It's a huge leak. I mean, the water supply in Huntsville is dropped to almost nothing. So there is a tremendous amount of water, but where it is, no one knows. And where the leak is, no one knows. Of course, the lake has not frozen over yet, Taylor, as it often does this time of year. It's been a little bit warm. I think that's been helpful. The snow hasn't been as much as we've expected. That's bad for the ski resorts, but it's probably good for the people that are digging up the roads and whatnot to try to find this leak. But, hopefully they're close and that the people in Huntsville will have water by the end of this week, certainly hopefully by Christmas.
Thanks so much, Greg Skordas. We're going to continue our conversation in about 10 minutes or so about the crisis of water that's missing in Huntsville. Right now, we're going to go live to Mar-a-Lago, where President-elect Donald Trump is speaking. Right now, he's speaking about the border wall and the border crisis.
You heard him, Kristen Holmes, talk about the transition with the Biden administration. He said it's been a friendly transition so far. One sticking point, though, he said, is about federal employees and what will happen if they don't come back to work.
Yeah, and this is something we've heard him talk extensively about. We've heard Elon Musk and Vivek Ramaswamy.
More, not even talking about the time. Time would be pretty long, but we'll spend hundreds of millions of dollars more on building the same wall that we already have. And people have already come back to us that have deals at 5 cents and 4 cents, and one guy at 3 cents on the dollar. And they offered to sell it back to us at more money than it cost us to build substantially. Can you believe it? So they make a deal with the United States to buy it for pennies, and then they call us and they say, do you want to buy it back? We'll sell it back to you for hundreds of dollars a foot. Hundreds of dollars, from pennies to hundreds of dollars a foot. And we can't let this take place. Now, we're going to go. I spoke with the Attorney General of Texas. I spoke to the senators of Texas. I spoke to a lot of people, and hopefully they'll be able to stop. We're going to be, having a restraining order. But just think about how ridiculous it is. And this is just people that don't want this country to succeed. And this has nothing to do with Democrat or Republican. This has to do with common sense. We won on common sense, and this is maybe one of the most egregious examples I've seen. So the people that are buying it or trying to buy it are trying to make a deal with us to sell it back at hundreds of times more than we paid. And this is all because the Democrats. So I'm asking today Joe Biden to please stop selling the wall. We're going to use that to create a strong barrier.
Okay, Debbie, I have to agree with something President-elect Donald Trump just said when talking about the border. He said it's not a Democratic issue. It's not a Republican issue. It's a common sense issue. And I think he's right. And I do think that that's one of the reasons that he has been elected again is because voters want common sense. And I'm not saying Donald Trump is the, bastion, the epitome of common sense, but I do believe that he has struck a chord with voters on these very practical, very pragmatic issues like the border. He has a lot to do, and voters are going to hold him accountable. He has a very short runway to get things done, Debbie. He's made a lot of big promises, and he takes office in just about a month, January 20th. He's taken over the earned media. He is already pushing forward on a lot of different fronts, Debbie. It will be very interesting to watch and see what this new Donald Trump administration, working with a Republican Congress, what can they get done when it comes to the border?
(9:31) at KSL News Radio. I'm Andy Farnsworth. KSL's top local story this hour. Police are urging people to be safe on the roads after several fatal crashes happened this weekend. One of them yesterday on US 91 near Logan. Utah Highway Patrol Corporal Eddie Wright says one car hydroplaned and hit another car, killing the one person in it.
Got to remember that those are important things to slow down, give themselves a little bit more time to get to and from places. Utah weather can change pretty quickly.
There were also fatal crashes in Spanish Fork Canyon and Eagle Mountain on Saturday. 3 people were taken to the hospital yesterday after getting thrown from a car that rolled on I-15 near Layton. Kaysville city officials are hoping to get over $5 million from the public to renovate downtown Kaysville. KSL.com reports officials want to add more retail, commercial, and mixed-use areas to try and boost the city's commercial profile. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. The federal government is working to track the drones spotted in the Northeast to make sure they aren't harmful. ABC's Karen Travers has the latest.
The FBI and the Department of Homeland Security are using infrared cameras and drone detection technology to make sure the drones flying over New Jersey and New York are not harmful. That's according to a law enforcement source. The federal agencies are also turning to social media and examining the photos posted there. Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas told ABC on Sunday most of the objects are manned aircrafts. The FBI and the Department of Homeland Security say there is no credible threat to the public at this time.
Your money at this moment. The Dow is down just a tiny bit, down 7.6 to 43,820, and that's down about 0.02%. Coming up, we're supposed to have some snow tonight. Cloudy today, still pretty cold. KSL weather coming up next. KSL quarters for Christmas time, 9:33.
We hope you have the right app on your phone for news. You probably have dozens.
But the KSL News Radio app, well, it makes our live stream super easy.
Plus, our talk shows are right there as podcast for your workday.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
Since 1954, Master Electrical Service has been around, so you know you have some expertise when they've joined forces with Mountain Home Services.
That's right. So now it's not only your electrical services that they can take care of, but also your HVAC, your heating and air, your plumbing.
And that's crucial because it all comes with that upfront pricing guarantee. One-stop shopping, folks. And an upfront pricing guarantee means when they come out and they give you a bid, they're going to honor that bid. How revolutionary is that?
That's right. The price that they quote you up front is the price you pay when the job is done, which means there are no hidden fees.
Make sure you check them out, Mountain Home Services, by going to their website, mountainhomeutah.com.
Or you can call them at 801-543-2222, 801-543-2222.
And fireplaces. Don't forget about the fireplaces. They are doing that as well. So make sure you check them out, Mountain Home Services, at their website, mountainhomeutah.com.
This year, American farmers will harvest 2.8 billion bushels of wheat and 15.1 billion bushels of corn. And to this day, American road workers have built 4.2 million miles of roads and counting. We're proud that John Deere machines rolling off the line here in the USA play a part in supporting Americans who work the land and build a better tomorrow. Nothing runs like a Deere. Learn more at johndeere.com/manufacturing.
Ooh,
What was that?
That is business phone bliss with the Ooma Cloud phone system. It handles all our voice, video, and messaging needs.
You sound very...
Calm? I am. Ooma has everything I need to run my business more efficiently, like virtual receptionist, call routing, and video conferencing. And it starts at just $19.95 per month per user, plus taxes and fees.
Ooma.
Nice. Find your business comm at ooma.com/radio.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and over the years, you've heard me praise the Connecticut soft water systems. You've heard that so often, you might be tempted to chuck a shoe at your radio. Well, hang on, because I've got some great news. Get this, Connecticut will pay you $50. I'm not kidding on this. They'll pay you $50 to buy a competing water softener from another dealer. Ready for the rules, though? Well, they're pretty simple. Invite Connecticut of Utah to your home for a free estimate on a Connecticut water softener. If within 60 days of hearing them out, you buy any other system from any other water softener dealer, Connecticut of Utah will fork over $50. That's how sure they are that after hearing them out, you won't settle for anything less than a Connecticut water softener. Now, this offer does expire in 30 days, so don't delay. Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com. Tell them Doug sent you.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. Here's Heather Kelly.
Northbound I-15 at Pleasant Grove exit. That just cleared a few minutes ago, but it was over on the right shoulder, so it never really caused any delays. In fact, you're not going to see any slowdowns anywhere on the I-15 corridor throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties. You've got good speeds coming out of Tooele County on I-80 as well as going through Parley's Canyon. Advanced Window Products, factory direct affordable windows. Call today, they're on their way. Financing available, save now, pay later. AdvancedWindows.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Well, it's supposed to get a little bit of precipitation today, but only a slight chance until tonight, and then it'll be more in the mountains than it will be down in the valleys, unless you live Ogden or north. Right now, it is 37 degrees on the way to a high of 46 in Salt Lake City. I'm Andy Farnsworth from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Our special hours of coverage of the Huntsville water crisis continues. We just spoke to a resident up there. Her name is Danae Palm. She's a mother. They found out on Friday that the water was going to need to be shut off up there, and there was a leak in the system that the town has not been able to figure out at this point where that leak is.
My husband and I want to be able to remind our kids, because we have some young ones who just have it to turn the faucet on and get a drink, and so we have to say, okay, we all have to make sure not to let the little one get a drink out of the faucet. We've got water bottles in the fridge. Make sure she gets that to drink.
Yeah, Debbie, so heartening to speak with Danae Palm, Huntsville town resident. She got pretty emotional at one point. Debbie, clearly this has been a really difficult weekend for the Palm family. As she mentioned, they have children and some young children. She described how fortunately they've been able to get some help from neighbors, residents, perhaps in Eden or some of the other surrounding areas. But, I mean, Debbie, a lot of kudos to Danae for, speaking positively, for trying to find the silver lining in the situation. A tough deal in Huntsville right now.
Still, this is a major failure of infrastructure in the Huntsville area. A town of maybe a few thousand, a community of a few, maybe a couple hundred, 600, maybe 1,000 people who found out on Friday that the system had failed. And there's a leak out there somewhere that has not been identified yet. We're going to be speaking to the mayor in 10 minutes to figure out where they're at in the process and what the problem is, if they know what the problem is. But let's bring Craig Olson. He's also a resident of Huntsville. Good morning, Craig.
Good morning to you guys.
Oh, you sound happy.
Yeah, Craig, you're way too upbeat for being a Huntsville resident on a Monday morning.
Talk about what you guys have been going through since Friday.
Oh, it's just one of those times where it's real easy to point fingers and question who did what or didn't do what. And, you know what? You just got to come up with solutions, and I'll tell you, this community has been amazing, and including the surrounding communities, people I don't even know, like Associated Water or Associated Foods brought in thousands of dollars worth of water. One of the local scallywags, I think it was, made hamburgers for the workers. The workers are up there slogging in the mud and cold and missing their weekend too. And we can't forget all those people. They're really busting their humps to help us out. And I've had neighbors calling, and how are you? And we're checking on neighbors, our elderly neighbors, and I'll tell you what, this community has really, and the surrounding communities have really come together, and to help each other out. And so I have to be happy.
Debbie, there may not be a lot of water in Huntsville, but I'll say there's something in the water up there with how happy and positive and helpful Huntsville residents are. I'll tell you what, I might look at moving up there. It sounds like such a great community.
Craig, how many people live there now? It's been a minute since I've been your way, and we just had Greg Skordas, our KSL legal analyst, on the line with us. He lives in Eden. Yeah.
Has Greg let you take a shower at his house, Craig?
Yeah, right.
So
I'm going to tell Greg and Becky I'm on my way over with soap and a towel.
So what do you think? What is it, about 600-700 people in Huntsville itself?
Yeah, I would say easily that, yes. And I don't have a clear number on that, but that's a pretty good guess, Debbie, yeah.
So Craig, the water system seems to have lost almost 1 million gallons, or maybe there's a question. At one point it held 1 million. Now it as of Friday, got down to about 60,000 gallons. Has there been any word on the streets of Huntsville at all? What happened to that much water? Where did it all go?
There's always speculation, and the water line, if I understand correctly, was installed in 2020, and so people are saying, did the contractor mess up or something? But I was talking with my wife this morning. We thought, we live in a mountain community, and hillsides move and slide, and this could be as simple as just something that broke the line. So I think it's better if we help each other and come up with solutions, and then figure out where it's all how it's going to be fixed and everything. And I believe that the crews we have on it, the mayor's been pushing to get the crews in and help fix this. A lot of volunteers, and the time now, I think, is to help each other, and those other problems will manifest themselves in other ways, and we'll figure it out.
Yeah, we're speaking with Craig Olson, a resident of Huntsville town. Craig, speaking of crews and problems manifesting themselves, as you drive around in Huntsville, of course, seeing these crews, the mayor has posted that 12 to 15 professionals at least are out there digging holes trying to find this leak. Are there any obvious signs of water? Is there a sinkhole of any kind? Where is this water?
Well, that's an interesting question, because my son works for a water department at Powder Mountain, and I questioned him, and he said, Dad, these situations, this is extremely hard to find because you have frozen ground above the break, and so instead of the water bubbling straight up, it tends to fan out underneath the frozen ground. I didn't even think of that.
Yeah, I didn't either. That's a good point.
And I was, that was nice to talk to an expert in that field, because he said it is almost impossible until it melts its way through to the surface, which we don't have that kind of time. He said it could be anybody's guess at that point. And he was very, supportive of the people looking. He said, this is extremely hard to locate something of this nature this time of year.
Well, Craig, we appreciate you jumping on the line, as well as your neighbor probably down the street, Danae Palm, and your neighbor in the next town over, Greg Skorda. So thanks so much. Craig Olson, who is a Huntsville resident, on the line with us live. Straight ahead, you may want to keep your ear to the radio there, Craig, because your mayor is going to be joining the show live. He's calling in, and we'll ask him these questions like, where did the water go? Have they identified the source of the leak? And how long will this water crisis in Huntsville go on?
Dave and Dujanovic.
Dave and Debbie go out of their way to make sure you hear all sides of a story.
They're working the phones to get several viewpoints on for you.
Hi, it's Tim and Amanda. We get you the full story, too.
We have you covered on KSL News Radio. At KSL News Radio, we have a 30-year legacy of honoring Utah teachers, but we can't do it without your help. Please tell us about an important teacher in your life on the KSL Teacher Tribute Wall, presented by Cypress Credit Union. Each month, one lucky teacher wins a $500 gift card from Cypress Credit Union, a $250 gift card to Harmon's, plus season tickets to Hale Center Theater. Say thanks to your teacher today at kslnewsradio.com/teacher from Cypress Credit Union and KSL News Radio.
When it comes to your electrical system, do you know the warning signs to look for? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and it's okay if you don't know, but here are a few things that you might not even realize could be a sign of a bigger problem. Wall plates that are hot to the touch, discoloration around switches or outlets, if you hear crackling or popping or buzzing around switches or outlets, a breaker that trips a lot, switches that feel loose when you operate them, if your lights dim or flicker when a major appliance comes on, if your plugs fall out of the wall easily. You know, you're not supposed to have to bend the prongs out on a plug just to get it to stay in the wall. If you notice any of these things, you should consider having a licensed electrician check your system out. If you don't know anyone, Any Hour Services has put together a radio-only special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive electrical inspection and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. To schedule your comprehensive electrical inspection by a licensed electrician for only $29, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7300. That's 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Hello, car donation hotline.
Hi, I'd like to donate a car to the Utah Kidney Foundation. Are you in Utah?
Awesome. Let's get some info and we'll send you a tow truck.
But I want my car donation to benefit my neighbor in Farmington who needs a transplant. Are you in Utah?
That's a no. I'm in SoCal, but you're still donating to charity.
What charity?
Doesn't matter.
Yes, I want my donation to stay in Utah.
Righteous dude. You need to call tow cars in Utah. Locals only, am I right?
Oh, yeah. I remember tow cars with a K like kidney. It's on a billboard somewhere. TOWKARS.org. That's it. Towcars.org.
If you'd like your vehicle donation to help Utah kidney patients in the Beehive State, please use the web address on their billboard, towcars.org, to donate your old car or truck. That's TOWK like kidney, ARS. Towcars.org.
Find peace this holiday season at Conservation Garden Park, a serene 8-acre haven in West Jordan. Winter hours are Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Admission is always free. Learn more at conservationgardenpark.org. That's conservationgardenpark.org.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Andy Farnsworth. First, police responded to several serious crashes over the weekend that left 2 people dead and at least 8 people injured. Second, Utah ski resorts are trying out new avalanche mitigation technology after the military recalled the howitzer they were using before. Third, the city of Kaysville is hoping to use over $5 million from the public to revamp its downtown area. Right now it's 37 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. Back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We're going to speak to the mayor of Huntsville. Richard Sorensen is waiting on the phone line right now. We've got to ask him, where did all that water go? And where's the leak? Have crews been able to identify the source of the leak that's created this water crisis in this small town of Huntsville, which has been dealing with this since Friday, Taylor?
Yeah, such a tough weekend. I can't imagine, Mr. Mayor, how difficult this has been for you. Of course, Debbie and I have been watching some of the content you've been posting to social media as you have tried to keep residents informed. Mr. Mayor, can you give us an update? Have there been any changes, any progress on finding this leak?
Well, thanks, Debbie and Taylor, for having me on with you this morning. It's been very, very trying. We first started seeing signs of a leak on, I think it was December 9th, and I think we're on the 16th today, so it's been a long crisis for our town. We still have not found the leak, and it's a very, very large leak, and so we're very perplexed that we have not found it. We would think that we're losing somewhere in the neighborhood of probably 180 to 210 gallons per minute somewhere into the ground, but it's not surfacing. The ground is very porous, so it's we're assuming it's just going down through the ground. So no, we have not found the leak yet, but we had a great day yesterday. Got a little bit of relief for our town citizens. We were able to bypass our water treatment plant and hook into a fire hydrant nearby and get some water to our residents last night. So we still have a boiler in effect, and the water is not safe for drinking because of possible contamination, but we were able to get water so they can use their toilets and take a shower. And I had a great shower last night, or this morning actually, and I even shaved this morning. So it's been...
So, Mayor, how long does the fire hose attached to the fire hydrant solution or temporary solution last?
Well, so we're in this for the long haul because of the boil odor and the potential contamination, and we've drained our 1 million-gallon tank almost dry. There's going to be a lot of state-required testing, and we're going to have to, after we find the leak and after we get the pipe repaired, which we are hoping again we'll find that leak today. We've helped isolate it a lot, but after we get that found, then there's quite a process. We'll have to send some guys into our tank, drain the tank fully, and then clean out the inside of the tank to get rid of any sediment in the tank. And then we'll have to fill up the tank with a high dosage of chlorine, and then drain the tank once again, and then fill it up a second time. And so 1 million gallons at 240 gallons a minute, it's going to be a long process.
We're speaking with Huntsville Town Mayor Richard Sorensen. Mayor Sorensen, can you tell us how much water was in that storage tank? My understanding is that the water treatment plant is down on the valley floor there in the Ogden Valley in Huntsville. The storage tank for the town's water supply is a few thousand feet up on a hill. Was that storage tank full? Was it at capacity with 1 million gallons before this leak?
Yes, it was. So typically our plant doesn't operate all the time. It's pumping water up, but it's able to pump it up and keep the tank topped off. So yes, it was full. And then on December 9th, we started noticing it was going down slowly, and now it's almost empty.
So I guess it went from sounds like an issue to a crisis almost overnight, Mayor. Is there some sort of measuring stick, or I don't know how they run water plants and pressure and check for the amount of water. I'm just thinking of like a dipstick for an oil change. What was it? It just seems like it went from kind of a slow problem to a major crisis overnight. Why wasn't something detected much sooner?
So it was, and we were monitoring it, and we were searching for the leak. We've been searching for the leak ever since, I believe it would be, I'm not looking at the calendar, but we believe on the 10th we started looking for the leak and doing potholing along the line. The big problem is that it's about 4,000 feet of line, and it's up on a mountainous terrain and snow and frozen ground and such. So it's been difficult digging, but we've been digging steadily ever since the 10th. As far as the depth of the water, it's a little more high tech than the dipstick, but we have electronics that monitor that. Unfortunately, on about day 2 or 3, the communications line which was in the same trench as the water line, was severed, and so we lost the capability to measure it. So we've had to go in the tank to take physical measurements with basically a dipstick. I had to actually go in the tank to take those measurements. So.
We're speaking with Huntsville Town Mayor Richard Sorensen. Mayor Sorensen, how new is the infrastructure involved in the water system there? We spoke with Craig Olson, a resident of Huntsville Town, in the last segment, and Craig mentioned that it's his understanding that it was installed in 2020. Is that correct? And if that's the case, how could there be such a catastrophic failure of such a relatively new system?
So, no, actually, that's not correct. It was installed in, I believe, 2002. So it's about 22 years old. Our water treatment plant and the major lines were installed at the same time. And so, life cycle, there's been a lot of life cycles, but we have started to have some failures on the pipes. So we kind of assume we've had some modeling done on it, and we kind of assume this is probably a full fracture of the line. We were pumping about 240 gallons a minute up to the tank, and only about 60 gallons a minute was reaching the tank. So we were losing a large volume of water.
So do you believe at this point that there is a problem with the piping?
We believe we have a major leak, which would be probably a broken pipe. So that's what our belief is.
And is it the pipe that's, you said, going to the tank?
Yes, as Taylor said, we have the plant at the bottom of the flat area of the valley, and then it pumps up. In elevation, it's probably 250 feet of elevation gain up the side of the hill, but the length of the pipe is about 4,000 feet. So the good thing yesterday, we were able to put a valve in, so we had nothing to there was no way to isolate the system for that full length of 4,000 feet. So yesterday we were able to cut the line and put a valve in about halfway up, and then we did pressure tests. We pressurized the line and did pressure tests, and we were able to eliminate the full top half of the line. So we know that the leak is on the bottom half of that 4,000-foot line.
Mayor Sorensen, obviously this is a crisis, an emergency. I imagine it is a huge drain on town resources, of course, immediately and into the future. Will you be able to turn potentially to the state or maybe to the federal government for support or for resources here?
We are sure hoping so. So I just got off a Zoom meeting with the state just before your call, and they have offered and said there's some possibilities of some state funding. We also are in contact with and have been working closely with the Rural Water Association of Utah. They've been invaluable. They've sent a gentleman up to help us. He's on site every day, but they've offered to help us with some possible grant funding. So we're hopeful. We're just doing everything we can to get it taken care of now, and then in a couple of weeks, and we're all past this, and we'll look at trying to pay for it. So.
Mayor, final question. It just sounded like from your earlier description of all of the things on the list to do once the problem and the leak is isolated and fixed, it doesn't sound like things will be back to normal this week. Am I wrong when I'm saying that for the residents of Huntsville?
So it's really hard to judge. There's so many variables, but we were originally trying to shoot for Thursday or Friday. I hope that's still close, but with draining and filling the tank, I think we may be pushed back probably beyond that. Luckily, we do have the water, the temporary water solution, but we still can't drink the water, and luckily we have some other backup sources for our residents to get drinking water. So, in fact, if I may say, we've had Associated Food Stores donated an entire semi-truck full of bottled water. And just this morning, Lee's Marketplace in Mountain Green brought up a pallet full of bottled water. So we've had great support from the community.
So bottled water, don't drink the water, boil the water, but you can shower and flush your toilets with what's being supplied through the fire hose?
Yeah, it's like when I go to Mexico, I don't drink the water. I don't brush my teeth with the water. So we're kind of on those terms right now. So.
Well, Mayor, thank you so much for jumping on the line with us. That was the mayor of Huntsville, Richard Sorensen. They have been dealing with a water crisis. As we heard, it sounds like it was rooted much earlier in December when they really started to kick things into gear at about December 10th, and then trying to now isolate the leak. And it could be a major issue with the pipe, and they're going to continue to work on that. Hopefully they get everything back in order soon, but it sounds like maybe they're going to have to push some of those timelines back. We'll continue to follow this with our team of reporters and producers in our newsroom, out and about throughout the community, checking in on what's going on in Huntsville. Straight ahead, we're going to take an in-depth look at what's going on at the point of the mountain. Of course, you've probably seen construction there. Some cool things in store for 2025 and beyond. That's next.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bonas. KSL's top story this hour. Huntsville city leaders have been able to get water back into people's homes, but it's still not fit to drink. Late last night, Mayor Richard Sorensen posted on social media saying they've found a way to get water back to people's taps, but right now it can't be used for drinking or cooking.
We still have the boil order. The water is not treated. There's no chlorine or anything in it, but it is perfect for your toilets.
Sorensen says they may have to periodically shut off the water again as they keep looking for the leak in their system. They're hoping to have the problem cleared up by the middle of the week. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. There's a new pop-up scam circulating online. When you visit certain websites, a window pops up that says your computer is infected with a virus and you should call a specific phone number. In Pasadena, Texas, a woman in her 80s was looking for recipes online, but was convinced to move all her money to an account that she told would be safe. She lost $150,000. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is down just 8 points right now. The NASDAQ, though, is up 190 points. And our KSL weather, we've got clouds today, but we've got the inversion coming back later in the week. KSL News Time, 10:01.
It's a priority for us at this station to bring you all sides of a story and to talk about the news fairly, completely.
Get all the facts and be really aware. Utah's Morning News with us, Tim and Amanda.
Weekday mornings 5 to 9 on KSL News Radio.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit NPSstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. NPSstore.com.
Do you have an IRA or 401k? It's natural to think of this as being your money, right? But remember, you still have to pay taxes when you withdraw this money in retirement. And you could be paying a lot more in taxes on these accounts than you know. A lot more. Learn the strategies that can help you reduce or eliminate your taxes in retirement. Don't miss a special edition of Retirement Solutions Radio this Saturday afternoon at 3 o'clock, right here on KSL News Radio 1027.
This holiday season, give the gift of joy with Mrs. Kavanaugh's chocolates. Imagine the delight on your loved ones' faces as they unwrap a box of their handcrafted gourmet chocolates. From creamy caramels to chocolate-covered treats, each piece is made with love and the finest ingredients. Family owned for over 60 years, Mrs. Kavanaugh's offers a tradition of quality and care. Whether it's their famous chocolate-covered nuts or their decadent fudge, Mrs. Kavanaugh's has something to make every holiday moment sweeter. Find the perfect gifts this year for your family, friends, and employees at MrsKavanaughs.com or visit their retail store to explore their holiday specials and delicious corporate gifts. Order now and make the season unforgettable with the magic of Mrs. Kavanaugh's chocolates, where every bite is a memory. Share the sweetness.
There she is, founder and CEO. High five.
Dave can't stop celebrating with every business owner in town.
All right, Baker Man, high five.
He's sharing the excitement of big savings with the Comcast Business 5-year price lock guarantee.
Oh, up top, bike shop.
Yeah. It's 5 years of gig speed internet.
Quick, high five.
5 years of advanced security.
5 years.
And 5 years of a great rate that won't change.
Yeah, law partners. Chamberlain, Messethorpe, Dubois.
All from the company with 99.9% network reliability. Switch today and get the 5-year price lock guarantee.
5 years.
It's back, but only for a limited time.
Woo!
Powering 5 years of savings, powering possibilities. Comcast Business.
Can't forget you, voiceover guy.
Ah, thanks, Dave.
High five.
Ends 3/9/25. Guaranteed rate applies to monthly service charge for new customers on qualifying internet bundle, excluding taxes and fees. Other restrictions apply.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. Here's Heather Kelly.
Looking really good all across the Wasatch Front. No delays I-15 throughout Utah, Salt Lake, and Davis counties, either directions. You also have a good commute on the east and west side belt routes around the Salt Lake Valley. You might see a little bit of congestion on some of the roadways, the bigger roadways like Bangerter Highway in the construction zones, but overall you're going to have a great commute right now. Arrive in style in a great fitting suit from Mr. Mac. They ensure a perfect fit, offering fast, free alterations by expert tailors at all 9 Mr. Mac stores. Arrive in style. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy with a chance of showers in northern Utah, clearing later this week with an inversion building back up. And right now we're at 37 degrees. It's mostly cloudy. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Well, if you're a longtime listener of the show, you probably know that the prison at the point of the mountain is no more. That's been gone for quite some time, and they've moved the prison out out west. Let's just say that. It's out west now. And then that there's a major project going on at the point. And it just so happens, not only is Taylor Morgan a longtime listener of the show, he's also a host of Inside Sources as well in the afternoon. And Taylor, you drive back and forth right around the area of the point that is now under construction. It's going to be like one of the newest developments in our entire valley.
Yeah, I live in Draper. I live just kind of on the side of South Mountain there. I have a wonderful view, Debbie, of the land where the point will be developed.
So do you sit on the patio on your rocker and look at the...
And we look down, and my wife and I wonder and speculate about what will that look like in a few years. Because right now, Debbie, it is actually quite shocking. If you haven't been out that way in a while, you'll be shocked at how much empty space, how much land there really is there. There's the old chapel building that is still there, but that's it. Everything else is gone, and it is dirt, and there is a lot of space for development there. So I'm excited to be talking now with Mike Ambray, Executive Director of The Point. Mike, can you tell us what is the latest on The Point? I want to ask you specifically, before you or after you give us a general update, I want to ask you specifically about this concept of the state retaining ownership of the land at the point, but Utahns still being able to buy homes there. How will that work?
Well, the point will actually do ground leases of the property to retain ownership, but the big idea here is that we could have in-depth planning and strategic planning of this area that creates, better paying jobs in this innovation community. We can look at all sorts of new technologies, enhanced mobility, sustainability, things like that we can help guide.
So, Mike, when are we going to start seeing, when is Taylor going to be able to look from his patio and start seeing buildings and infrastructure and all that other stuff that we've been looking forward to start to materialize?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked. Tomorrow is an important, pivotal day. We are holding a groundbreaking ceremony. This is the start of construction of Porter Rockwell Boulevard, which is a critical regional road that will connect 6 West to 146 South. Along with that comes a lot of infrastructure that really kickstarts the Phase 1 development. So it all begins tomorrow.
So road construction will start tomorrow, and how quickly will that be built out? What will that look like in terms of the roads there? I understand some of the planning calls for underground networks of transportation. Can you give us a sense of what the land itself will look like, how many major roads will cut through that land? Because living in Draper and traveling a lot there on the west side of I-15 in that area, I know that there's nothing right now in terms of major arteries that really connect 146 South to 123rd South. You have to go far out west to get there. So give us a sense of what transportation in the area will look like in the coming years.
Sure. So, yeah, Porter Rockwell Boulevard, we will connect, as I mentioned, but that'll be the main thoroughfare through the site. We will also have a couple of loop roads that circulate the site. We've also worked closely with our partners from UDOT and UTA, and we have plans for the future on the frontage road there, the Pony Express. This will look completely different than anything that you've seen before.
Well,
what you can expect in the next few years here is we will have multiple buildings going vertical. And
Okay.
so with our partners, they will start going vertical in the next year.
So the buildings that go vertical, and you said that this area will be like nothing we've ever seen before. What do you mean by that, Mike?
Well, let me reference enhanced mobility for a second. We've studied and looked at multiple different approaches to travel in this area, whether that's autonomous circulating vehicles, light rail, front runner. We also are looking at the potential of advanced air mobility. So this is kind of cutting edge technology that we're trying to implement.
So you're talking, for example, air taxis and self-driving cars?
That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Okay. I have a lot of questions, Mike. That's exciting. I'm intrigued. What is an air taxi? Are we
So
talking like
think of it-
Jetsons here? Is that what this will look like?
Well, maybe, but I think to scale it back to our element, it would look more like a human-sized helicopter/drone. It would be electric. It would sound similar to a semi coming down the road instead of a helicopter, and they would go. You would have what you call vertiports, right? So on the top of maybe a parking structure or something like that, where these things could land and take off. But it wouldn't be to commute around the exact site. It would be more for you would take off at this site to go to the airport. Think about it like that.
So not necessarily to go to a friend's house in Salt Lake City, but a predetermined destination that would make sense with this kind of service, Mike?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, and then the
one day we
go
might.
ahead. Go
Sorry,
ahead. No, go
I was
ahead.
going to say one day we might get to a point where we have specific drop-off locations, but now this is the first step in air mobility.
We're talking right now to Mike Ambray. He is the executive director of The Point. And if you know the valley, you know the point of the mountain for many, 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 many years was the site of the Utah State Prison. It is long since moved. It's gone. And now there's this land out there that's being developed. And it's right on I-15 as you're going, I don't know, crossing over between Salt Lake County and Utah County is like how I like to say it, because I always say the point of the mountain. And if you don't know where the point of the mountain is, you don't know what I'm talking about. But it's on the south end of Salt Lake County. And things really get underway starting tomorrow. This has been super exciting because we've been waiting quite some time for something to finally happen. Although I know you guys have been busy out there trying to prep everything, and including, I'm just reading my notes here. It looks like you're using crushed concrete from the old prison to lay some of the groundwork out there.
Yeah, that's correct. So as part of innovation, we look at anything that we can use to recycle. So about 70% of the concrete that was crushed during the demolition of the existing prison will be used as subbase for these roads. And the point is rather unique. While other developments may start on the edge because of proximity of utilities and ease of access, we are starting in the center. And this is really going to accelerate our phase one development area.
Yeah. Debbie, we're talking about 600 acres of state-owned land in the Salt Lake Valley. We don't get an opportunity like this often to develop this much land where that land is in such high demand. So I'm so glad that we're being very smart and strategic about how this is done. Mike, one last question before we let you go. Excuse me. What is the latest on the statute of responsibility? I know this has been a bit controversial. There was a statement put out in the spring of this year. What is the latest on that?
So we have a process that we go through to rate projects that come into the site. And we're currently going through that process now.
So stay tuned, it sounds like.
Yeah, stay tuned.
Okay, Mike.
All right.
That's Mike Ambray. He's the executive director of the Point, the project of the Point of the Mountain. Big news happening tomorrow with this, where they're starting to, enter into that phase of turning the dirt for the groundbreaking of the construction out there. So we'll continue to follow that with our team of reporters and producers, as we have been all along the way. Straight ahead, is it time to simplify Utah elections? We're going to dive into that with our political insider, Taylor Morgan, next.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Current events can have a lot of moving parts. Our job is to make it easy to keep up.
You're part of a bigger world, so spend 15 or 20 minutes here and be part of it.
Join us weekday mornings between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
If you ever have a problem with your garage door, do you know who you're going to call? Well, let me tell you about Advanced Garage Door.
Yeah, because problems with your garage door, in my experience, are never at convenient times. What's so great about Advanced Garage Doors is they've got certified technicians who are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they offer you same-day service.
And they offer a lifetime warranty on all residential doors and parts. You just have to follow their recommendations, but that will give you that peace of mind that you're looking for, knowing that if anything happens, you can reach out.
And they lead the industry by designing and manufacturing new products that other companies don't have. Like, how about a 200,000 cycle roller?
My kids will go through the garage door before the front door. For some reason, they like to punch in the code and have that thing go up and then go through the garage.
And that's why you need Advanced Garage Doors to come out to your house, check it out. And if you need a new garage door, they'll do that too. A couple of ways to get a hold of them.
801-252-5977. That's 801-252-5977.
Or you can look them up online at advanced-door.com. One more time, advanced-door.com.
There's one important thing you can do this Christmas to help your community. You can donate blood with ARUP Blood Services. All of the blood goes to University Hospital in Huntsman. It only takes around 30 minutes. Help grow the blood supply by donating with ARUP Blood Services. 2 locations open every day, and it only takes around 30 minutes. ARUP Blood Services is the sole provider of blood to the University of Utah hospitals and Huntsman Cancer Hospital. You can give the gift of life this Christmas. Each donor gets a gift card, and every day there's a drawing for a $100 Amazon gift card. ARUP Blood Services needs 75 blood donors per day to keep up with the sick patients in our local hospitals. Give the gift of life by donating blood or platelets. You can save a life. The Greenhouse Show will be live at ARUP in Sandy on Saturday, December 21st. The first 30 donors will get a beautiful poinsettia plant courtesy of Olson's Greenhouse. Walk in to donate 8 to 11 a.m. Details at utahblood.org.
You wouldn't know it, but most financial advisors are put in a box. I'm Jeff Jr. from Trajan Wealth, and I want to provide you a little insight about financial advisors. Most financial advisors have to sell what their company requires them to sell, and many advisors have to only adhere to what's called a suitability standard. A suitability standard is a limited standard of care, not requiring what's sold to be best, just suitable. Advisors with this loose standard often have limited investment and product selection. Trajan Wealth is held to a fiduciary standard, which is the highest standard of care in the advisory business. And that's just one of the many reasons we have billions of dollars under our care and attract clients from other advisors. Raise your standards today and call Trajan Wealth. Call 801-899-7600. That's 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Getting help with electrical repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, people in Huntsville can flush their toilets again, but the city says they still haven't found the leak that shut down their water system. Second, a woman in Texas was looking for recipes online, but fell victim to a scam that cost her $150,000. Third, some Amazon workers in New York are ready to walk off the job just a few days before Christmas. 38 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We're going to talk about an opinion piece that is entitled, "It's Time to Simplify Utah Elections." And this opinion piece was written by Utah lawmakers, including Rex Shipp, Trevor Lee, Mike Peterson. You're shaking your head. Yes, I want to make sure that I'm getting all this right.
Yeah,
Taylor Morgan's very familiar with the names and the voices on Utah's Capitol Hill because you're a lobbyist, and you've also worked on and been involved in legislation that they mention here in this opinion piece. It was published in the Deseret News. It was written by these lawmakers. With their concerns, they have some concerns over what they consider to be complications, if you will, within our elections process. So, Taylor, why don't you start by talking about SB 54, which I know you're going to, out of clear transparency, when you do, what they mean by any confusion with SB 54 has caused. And we're also going to talk as well, what they bring up in this piece is vote by mail, the vote by mail system. I think a lot of us, if you're listening, are much more familiar with vote by mail than we are SB 54. So why don't we start there, Taylor?
Yeah, Debbie, first and foremost, I do want to disclose, be totally transparent with our listeners, that I still serve in the role as executive director of Count My Vote. That is the organization that was launched back actually in 2009 to run a ballot initiative in Utah to change how we nominate candidates. We passed legislation in 2014 following our first initiative to create this dual path process to the primary election ballot in Utah so that candidates could get signatures and qualify for the ballot rather than having to go exclusively through Utah's caucus convention path to get on the ballot. So want to disclose that. I have a clear history and bias, so to speak, but at the same time, I know the history of the issue. I know all of the details and complications. And let me try to frame this a little bit here. We have some very, very conservative lawmakers, a small group, who have always been strongly opposed to SB 54. SB 54 was the bill number that created this dual path, created the signature path back in 2014.
And just a quick refresher, the signature path to the ballot, which is newer, we didn't have this
before 2014.
So for decades and decades, we didn't have this, is where candidates can go out, collect enough signatures to qualify them for a primary race.
That's exactly right.
If they get enough signatures, they get that gets them to the primary ballot.
Right. And we at Count My Vote saw the desperate need to provide candidates and voters, frankly, with a voice in that process because before 2014, Utah's voter participation rate had fallen to among the lowest 5 states in the entire country. And since 2014, since the dual path was passed in 2014, and since voting by mail in Utah became automatic and statewide, Utah's had the second highest rate of voter participation increase in the country. So
just for clarity, before the signature gathering went into effect, before that, people or candidates found their way onto an election ballot via a caucus meeting and then a convention. Through more of just like working with the political party.
That's right. Yeah.
They couldn't go out and gather signatures, but so there's now we call that the dual path to the ballot.
That's right.
Okay.
Yeah. Before 2014, the only way for a candidate to win their party's nomination or get on a primary ballot was to go through the caucus convention path, in which about 1% of voters, party delegates, made the decisions on behalf of everyone else.
So these lawmakers write in this opinion piece, SB 54 remains to this day a solution in search of a problem for two reasons. First, we don't believe that state government has the legal right to unilaterally dictate political party nominating procedures. Second, the signature gathering imposed by SB 54 created an excessively cumbersome and costly nomination process with plenty of room for error. So to the point that this costs candidates money, that is indeed the case, right? To go out and gather signatures.
That's right. Yes, the signature requirements are high. And Debbie, the funny thing is here, for the last 10 years, I have been fighting and scratching and clawing up on Utah's Capitol Hill with these lawmakers and their colleagues to try to reduce those signature thresholds and reduce the dependency on paid signature gathering firms. They have not wanted to do that because in my opinion at least, they've wanted to preserve their ability to complain about the cost of the signatures.
But to their point, it does cost money to gather signatures. So if I wanted to find, or anybody wants to find their way onto a ballot and they want to do it through the signature gathering process, I'm going to have to come up with money to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think it depends on what office you're running for.
But it could potentially turn me away from wanting to spend that money, especially if I'm a new candidate and I don't have that money.
Yeah, that's right. If you're running for the Utah House, for example, where the lawmakers behind this opinion piece serve, you have to get 1,000 signatures from registered voters in your party in your district. I think, Debbie, while it's easier to pay for those signatures, you could do that with volunteers. I still believe we should reduce that threshold and make the ballot more accessible. But, Debbie, I really want to get to this framing here because on one hand, we have these lawmakers complaining about voting by mail, saying that it is not secure. There's security issues, there's integrity issues.
Well, what they say
with
in this
voting by
opinion
mail.
piece is two major features with vote by mail raise these concerns. First, the ballot is cast outside the public eye, and thus the opportunity for coercion and voter impersonation are greater. Second, the transmission path for vote by mail ballots is not as secure as traditional in-person ballots. These security concerns relate both to ballots being intercepted and ballots being requested without the voter's permission. So these are the concerns that this handful of lawmakers is raising in this opinion piece. There are people out there who have expressed concerns about vote by mail. There's no doubt about that. The question is, will lawmakers do anything about it in the 2025 legislative session? We've had vote by mail for better part of a decade.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people also find it extremely convenient to be able to go to their mailbox, find a ballot in their mailbox, sit at the kitchen table, research the candidates, especially when it comes to the judges. Maybe they're not familiar with some of these people, and so it gives them some time to do that.
Yeah. Debbie, if I can, these issues with voting by mail are so insignificant in terms of the ballots cast and the high participation rate. Voting by mail is secure. It works. We know that the vast majority of Utah voters trust it and have confidence in it. But here's my issue. At the same time legislators are questioning voting by mail because of security issues, they want to do away with signatures and empower the caucus convention path, which has zero safeguards or state oversight whatsoever. There is no accountability, transparency, security at all in the caucus convention path. There is no way to audit that process, who participates in it, what votes are cast. It is a completely, a private organization process that the state cannot even audit.
You keep an eye, and you are on Capitol Hill quite a bit. How much of the legislative session do you anticipate might be dedicated to, elections and maybe getting in there and working on some changes in the election laws?
Yeah, it is definitely going to be a hot issue, a prominent issue in the legislative session. We know that especially Speaker Mike Schultz has not been shy about his concerns about voting by mail. Of course, with what happened with Amendment D and Amendment A, of course, with the state Supreme Court voiding those ballot measures that the legislature had put on the ballot regarding the initiative process. I expect that also to come up in a big way this session. So elections, voting by mail, the initiative referenda process, these are all going to be prominent issues in the 2025 session.
It's 10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour, a plan to convert a former Motel 6 in South Salt Lake into a new shelter for homeless families has been approved. KSL News Radio's Candy Zalale has more.
The former motel is located at 315 West, 3300 South, and will provide shelter for about 85 families. The Salt Lake Tribune reports homelessness advocates have been pushing for a new shelter for families since 2022. Right now, there's about 80 to 100 families on the wait list for Salt Lake County's only family-focused center. The plan was approved after City Council made sure everything was in place for the shelter to operate smoothly. All council members voted in favor of the plan, and the shelter is set to open in spring of 2025.
Our top national story this hour from ABC News. David Hogg survived the mass shooting at his high school in Parkland, Florida when he was a teenager. He's since become a gun control activist, and now he's running for vice chair of the Democratic Party. Hogg is 24. He says he wants to help the party connect better with voters. Hogg also says he's disappointed that no women are running for party chair. The party will choose its new leadership on February 1st. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is down on the day 36 points. The NASDAQ is up by 198. And our KSL weather. We've got clouds today, and things will start to clear up through the rest of the week. That's next. KSL News Time, 10:31.
Here's a way to get breaking news updates anywhere you go.
At the store or in a work meeting, you can get breaking news on your phone.
You can quickly read it, swipe, or click for more. It's super discreet, super fast.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
This holiday season, I hope you guys enjoy all the delicious food from all of the parties, but I know you're going to pay for it a little bit. You might pack on a few extra pounds. Well, if you're looking to lose some significant weight, let me tell you about what I did with Salt Lake City Fat Loss. I joined their program back in February, and I took my weight loss journey seriously, and I paid for the program. That's one thing that I like to tell people is I paid for it just like you do, and what paying for it did was keep me honest. I wasn't going to pay for it and then start cheating all over the place. So it kept me honest. And by following the program, it was incredible to see the results. I lost 57 pounds in 60 days, and I felt absolutely incredible. So if you're interested, right now, Salt Lake City Fat Loss is offering an additional 20% off the program because it's the holidays. You don't have to start on Christmas. You can wait till the holidays pass, and then you get the deal. So go ahead and reach out to Salt Lake City Fat Loss. Go to slcfatloss.com. That's slcfatloss.com.
I spray and scrub, but the soap scum in my bathtub is still there.
I spray and scrub, but the burnt sauce on my stovetop sticks around.
Sprays can leave grime behind, but Mr. Clean Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser combines the scrubbing power of an eraser with the cleaning power of Dawn to melt away tough messes on contact.
Just wet, squeeze, and erase.
Stop spraying, start erasing, and clean with more magic than ever with Ultra Foamy Magic Eraser.
Mr. Clean, Mr. Clean.
Did you know your life insurance is an asset you can sell? I'm Jay Jackson, CEO of Abacus Life. For almost 20 years, Abacus has been purchasing life insurance policies from seniors just like you. And at abacuspays.com, we've created a free policy value calculator so you can find out the worth of your policy in just seconds. There are no fees and no obligations. Get real value from your life insurance when you need it with Abacus. Learn more at abacuspays.com.
paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan silver dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Americans treasure owning silver bars and coins, putting them away for themselves and their loved ones. Call now to secure 1 ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the USA. You'll be glad you did. Hurry, don't miss out on this special deal. Save $10 per silver bar. The more you buy, the more you save. Limit of 25 bars per customer. Call to learn more. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan silver dollar. That's a $59.95 value and free shipping. Call 1-800-222-3967 now to secure your 1 ounce Morgan silver dollar bars. That's 1-800-222-3967.
Traffic and weather together, brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. And here's Heather Kelly.
Things are looking pretty good across the Wasatch Front, especially if you're sticking to a major freeway. I-15 southbound, we did have a crash at 33rd South, but it was quickly moved over to the right shoulder, so no delays there anymore. We do have one of our listeners letting us know there's a pretty bad crash on 4700 South in Taylorsville, right in the intersection of 3200 West. I am seeing a bit of delay on that, both northbound and southbound on 3200 West itself. Again, that's at 4700 South. You may want to use caution or avoid the area. Looking for the best gift ever? That's what you get at Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. Use code KSL50 online or in stores to receive 50% off your purchase. Visit minkycouture.com. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy with a chance of showers in northern Utah, then clearing up later this week with an inversion building back up. 39 degrees, mostly cloudy right now. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. Right on the money. Special coverage with Dave and Dujanovic.
Okay, we're in the no judgment zone when it comes to money and talk about money right now. Because we know a lot of people who are listening, Taylor, inflation's got you. Now Christmas is here. You're still paying debt from last Christmas. Maybe you had a medical bill this year you weren't anticipating. And we're now looking at near 40% of credit card holders have said they've maxed out their credit cards or come really, really close to doing so.
Yeah, definitely. 'Tis the season, Debbie. We know, of course, that despite inflation, despite having economic concerns over the last few years, Americans are spending. Utahns are spending. There is some hope and optimism for the economy going forward that I think is driving part of this. Also, we have a lot of people maybe just going big for Christmas. I can understand that for the holidays. But no judgment zone again.
Yeah, because I've been there, done that.
I've been there, done that too, Debbie. It hasn't really been that long in my adult life, maybe just the last decade or so that, I've actually been able to pay off my credit card balance every month. Before, I typically had a very high balance, right? We know that affects your credit score and that affects your interest rate, which makes that debt even more difficult to pay off.
Well, you've got emergency expenses that come up. You put it on a credit card. You've got interest accruing at 22 or 25 or 28% interest. That gets slapped on next month's bill. And maybe you're only making the minimum payment because that's all you can afford to make. But in the meantime, the interest is outweighing. It's like you're chasing the wind, right?
Yeah.
Grasping at ropes of sand because you make the minimum payment and the interest alone on the credit card balance is more than the minimum payment. And you're losing sleep. You don't know how to get out of this cycle. Thankfully, we've got Anna Staples with Bankrate. She's a credit card analyst with Bankrate, live on the line with us. Good morning, Anna. Does this sound familiar? The analogy of the story I just told?
Good morning. And yes,
Yeah.
and this is definitely a very, very pervasive issue. And a lot of people have lots of different reasons to, kind of find themselves with a maxed out credit card, but it is equally stressful.
Well, and if I'm recalling in my 20s, it was a maxed out credit card. It was no money in savings. It was rent. My rent was getting increased. And gas, I know everybody's going to laugh at this, but it was like $1.25 a gallon, which doesn't sound like a lot. That sounds like a bargain now. But I was making $10,000 a year, and my rent was 60% of my income. So when gas prices are $1 a gallon, and I'm driving a car that gets 10 miles to the gallon, it just is so stressful. Where do we start coping with that stress, Anna?
I'm sure this is, a very familiar situation for a lot of people. And, this type of stress, it makes it kind of a bi-directional issue because, you're stressing out because you have all these expenses and you're paying them off with a credit card. And then you get credit card debt. And then you have more stress because of that. And so I think the very first thing to do is to actually look at where you're spending, where your money is going, and see how you can stop the bleeding because, it's very easy to just fall into this trap and ignore the issue because it is a hard thing to deal with. And maybe you're kind of avoiding, to look at your balances and to look at the problem basically in the eye. But the longer you do that, the worse the problem gets. So definitely the first step is to acknowledge it and to see what you can do.
Yeah, we're speaking with Bankrate credit cards analyst Anna Staples. Anna, where should people start? Should I cancel my Amazon Prime subscription because then I might just have to pay more for stuff on Amazon and I won't get it as fast? Or should I cancel the Disney Plus, the Paramount streaming monthly subscriptions? Where do you recommend is being the easiest, most practical place for people to start stopping the spending, the bleeding?
Some cancellations might be helpful, but again, you have to look at your statements and, be really honest and see where your money is going. Maybe, you're spending, say, $10 on some kind of subscription, but, because you're stressed out, maybe you're spending a little more than you should on just shopping and impulse purchases. It really depends on the person. So that's why it's so important to really look through your statements and, see just honestly what is happening and then address that. And don't forget that, just because you're paying off debt, it doesn't mean that you should give up on just, all the joy in your life, whatever it is, it's Amazon, your Netflix subscription, whatever it is. And if you do realize, actually, I have to maybe get rid of these things, find some alternatives that still bring you joy without you, feeling like, oh, well, I can't do anything right now because I can't spend any money because then it only adds to the stress and you're in this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
Well, Anna, thank you so much. Anna Staples, she's a Bankrate credit card analyst. Thanks for jumping on the line and at least trying to jumpstart us here when it comes to dealing with our credit card debt. Thanks so much. Happy holidays to you, Anna, and to all of our friends at Bankrate. I've got a couple of suggestions here. To your point, Taylor, absolutely yes. Start analyzing every single penny that's going out the door. And start with your subscriptions. It's easy to find that on your iPhone or your phone under subscriptions, under your Apple subscriptions, whatever the case may be. Start analyzing how often you're using those because I found myself wrapped up in a couple of streaming services that I just, I finished watching the show. It was over. I hadn't gone back to the streaming services. So that alone, just doing that, saved me about $25 or $30 a month, just canceling those. The other thing I'd suggest is looking at cutting spending wherever you can. If that means, making your coffee at home instead of going through the drive-through, do it. It saves a ton of money. When you start adding up how much you're spending nickel and diming your way through the day at drive-throughs, whether it's for coffee or for lunch, you can save a lot of money just making it at home. I pack my lunch every single day. It saves me, I'm sure, $10, $15 a day. Not going through the coffee drive-through saves between $5 and $7 a day. And there was one other way that I started saving money, and I'll give that to you in just a second. But what's your tip?
Yeah, don't be embarrassed. I think that is so important because I think we avoid difficult things that embarrass us. This is a big one. 40% of Americans have
Mhm.
maxed out credit card debt. So I think we need to acknowledge this, confront it, not be embarrassed about it, and then we can deal with it.
And the other tip that I use every time this time of year is I want you to think about what you got for Christmas last year. And I bet you can't remember what you got for Christmas last year, and you cannot remember who gave it to you.
Debbie,
And-
I got a dog. I got a puppy. My wife gave
You're
it
the
to me. I
exception.
did not want it, and it is very expensive.
And on the flip side, yes. And on the flip side of that, what's that one gift that you gave somebody that, they'll never forget and you will never forget? And chances are you can't you can't remember. The majority of the stuff that we give and we get, sadly, during the holidays is just caught up in the idea of spending and filling the void of, very few Christmas gifts under the tree. We feel like more is better, but more is not better for our budget.
Yeah.
And so this is the time to have that conversation with your loved ones. Honestly, take gifts back that if you've overbought, take gifts back. I've done that in the past. Like I've done too much for them. Take that gift back. Have that conversation. How is Christmas Eve going to look and how is Christmas Day going to look? Because I cannot afford to put more and more on my credit card. I have got to give myself a gift this year.
Yeah.
And that is watching my spending. So think about it in terms of not overspending and having the conversation long before next week. You got a few days left of shopping. Don't fall into the trap of feeling like you need to just go spend. So that's my final piece of advice.
Dave and Dujanovic.
Here's a trick to podcasting at work and getting all the Utah news you love.
Download the KSL News Radio app.
The podcast for Utah's morning news and Dave and Debbie are right there. Dozens of podcasts a day.
That's the app for KSL News Radio.
I've experienced this firsthand, how hard water takes years of life off my water heater. In fact, when I had hard water running through my house, my water heater only lasted, I think, 3 or 4 years. And then once Connecticut came out and installed the water softener for me, and I had a new water heater, it lasted 7, 8, 9 years. It more than doubled the life of my water heater. Part of the reason why you may want to consider investing, and that's how my wife and I looked at it, investing in a water softener, because you've probably seen the scum on your shower walls where you need a jackhammer to remove because of all the hard water. Well, Connecticut of Utah will come out to your house, walk you through all the important benefits of soft water in your house. All you have to do is reach out to them, 801-576-8600. That's 801-576-8600. They're an authorized Connecticut dealer, or you can check them out online and learn a little bit more about soft water by going to their website, softwaterutah.com.
Hi, I'm Christine. 15 years ago, my world as a mom crumbled when my 2 sons finally were able to be honest about their substance addiction. My husband and I had been attending a 12-step addiction recovery program at our church to learn how to help our sons. We learned addiction is a life-threatening brain disease that's chronic, progressive, and has the capacity to take away free agency. I searched desperately to find the right help for our sons and was told to look for a strong aftercare program. By the grace of God, we found that with Renaissance Ranch and also found their amazing family program. Research studies indicate family members play a huge role in treatment outcome and long-term sobriety. Today, we are grateful owners of Renaissance Ranch with our sons and know addiction is a family illness, and families can find healing and connection when they are willing to learn more about recovery. If you have a loved one suffering from addiction, don't wait to seek help. Join us in our online Christ-centered family education classes that are open to the public at no charge. Look for us at renaissanceranch.com.
Often, we see people we don't know, sleeping on the sidewalk or maybe asking for money. You may think to yourself, wonder how this person ended up in that situation. The rescue mission of Salt Lake changes people's lives and helps them become the person they were truly meant to be. They just need a little help to get back on track. The rescue mission relies 100% on public support and receives no government funding. Those small donations can add up to transform someone's life. In as little as 12 months, a person can move from homelessness to stability, gain an education, and life skills mentoring. to employment, housing, and self-sufficiency. Additionally, the rescue mission provides daily meals and offers an emergency shelter every night, plus hygiene, clothing, and a warming center. All to help those on the street get off the street and change their life. Visit Rescue Mission of Salt Lake now. That's rescuesaltlake.org, because a little donation goes a long way.
Hi, Susan. We haven't seen or heard from you.
Cold.
We would like to locate Joyce.
The mysteries that made podcast history
Cherie Warren disappeared.
are now together for free at kslpodcasts.com.
I'm Dave Cawley, the host of Cold. Join me for Season 1, The Susan Powell Case Files, Season 2, Justice for Joyce, and Season 3, The Search for Cherie. Listen anytime for free at kslpodcasts.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
With the three things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, the South Salt Lake City Council has given a green light to a new shelter for families experiencing homelessness. Second, a survivor of the mass shooting at the high school in Parkland, Florida, now trying to win a national leadership position in the Democratic Party. And third, it was a bad weekend for highway fatalities in Utah. 39 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local stories.
There's a major water crisis in our community, not too far from here of Huntsville, that we've been talking about this morning. We've had the mayor call in of Huntsville, also residents of Huntsville call in. There seems to be some sort of a crack or a break in the pipe. We talked to the mayor a little earlier in the show, but they just haven't been able to isolate it.
The good thing yesterday, we were able to put a valve in, so we had nothing to there was no way to isolate the system for that full length of 4,000 feet. So yesterday we were able to cut the line and put a valve in about halfway up, and then we did pressure tests. We pressurized the line and did pressure tests, and we were able to eliminate the full top half of the line. So we know that the leak is on the bottom half of that 4,000-foot line.
Yeah, and the mayor there of Huntsville Town, Mayor Sorensen, joined us. He described how finding this leak is incredibly difficult right now because of the time of year, because it's cold. And this is something I didn't know, Debbie. This was a great point. The leak, that water won't come to the surface when it's so cold. Instead, that water is directed downward below frozen ground and could be dispersed below the pipe deep in the ground, which makes it almost impossible to really isolate the source of that leak.
So the water storage tank in Huntsville went from 1 million gallons of water down to, by Friday, about 60,000 gallons of water.
Yeah.
Which meant they had to cut the water off, at least temporarily. And then folks were told they could go take showers in a building in Eden, which is right next to Huntsville, and then to not drink the water once they started turning it back on. But right now they're using, to get the water back to residents, they're using a fire hose.
Yeah, they're bypassing the water system by connecting a Weber County fire hydrant with a fire hose to the city's water treatment plant.
And so, therefore, they can't drink the water, but now they've gotten us into a situation where they can at least shower and flush toilets.
People who have to do laundry, like we have a big family, so we're constantly doing laundry. It's not just a one time of the week thing. We've always got a load going and doing lots of dishes and, showers and baths. It's been hard not to be able to do those things.
That's Danae Palm. She's a resident in Huntsville. We also spoke to Craig Olson. He lives up there.
I've had neighbors calling, and how are you? And we're checking on neighbors, our elderly neighbors. And tell you what, this community has really, and the surrounding communities have really come together to help each other out. And so I have
Associated Foods trucking in lots of bottles of water, and then neighbors helping neighbors. It all sounds pretty amazing in Huntsville, but I'm not sure how long they can sustain that type of lifestyle. Brian Stinson with the Utah Division of Emergency Management and Be Ready Utah. We often turn to Be Ready Utah for advice and tips on this. And Brian, it sounds like they can't drink the water. They don't, and the mayor said there's a boil order in place, but they can shower in it and flush toilets. So there is a little bit of a silver lining, but it doesn't sound like they're on the path, at least not yet, this early in the week, to a permanent fix.
Yeah, water, of course, is one of those things you can only live 3 to 4 days without clean drinking water. So it is vitally important that we have that on hand. If they're talking about a boil water notice, here in Utah, because of our average elevation, we need to boil that water for a full rolling boil for 3 to maybe 4 minutes, then let it cool down, and then it's safe to drink. At lower elevations, usually people hear 1 minute, but here in Utah, 3 to 4 minutes for that boiling water. So some other things that they would probably a great thing for them to do if they are completely out of water, other places they have water, or even just the pipes within their own homes. They can drain the water out of those water pipes, and that's clean drinking water. They've got their water, the water tank for their water heaters. That's clean drinking water as well. So those are some other sources if they have absolutely nothing. If there is any question at all, make sure that you treat it, boiling it, filtering it, those kinds of things. But, yeah, other than that, they talk about 20 years ago is the best time to plant a tree. The next best time is today.
Yeah. So
after this crisis is over, go out and get yourself some good water storage tanks. Fill them up. You'd have a bare minimum of 14 gallons per each person in your family. That can last you, again, that's a minimum, but that should last you about 2 weeks.
We have Brian Stinson on with us from the Utah Division of Emergency Management, Be Ready Utah. Brian, the water tanks, that is a great suggestion. We should all have those. What are some other things that Be Ready Utah would recommend that our listeners do to be ready for something like this? Because it's obviously not just water, but perhaps maybe having a water filter, or what other tips, tricks, ideas, or supplies could we be prepared with for something like this?
Yeah, and really the name of the game is, like you said, prepared. You've got to do this before the emergency comes. We can do what we can with what we've got afterwards, but it's much easier for you and your family if you do these things beforehand. The main thing is, of course, like I said, store water beforehand. You can go to beready.utah.gov, and we have a lot of information on how to safely store water. Do the best you can with what you have. Something is always better than nothing. Minimum of 14 gallons. Additionally, eventually you're going to run out of your water depending on how long the emergency is. So like you said, have some filters, have some purification things like one of my favorites is sodium hypochlorite, just standard bleach. If you put 8 drops of that into normal water, that will clean it. It needs to sit there for about 30 minutes to kill the pathogens that might be in the water. So that's something you can do. Another option is chlorine dioxide. Follow the recommendations on the package of how to do it properly, but that's a really great way of killing pathogens in the water. We talked about boiling, but and just get yourself a good filter. So have the water stored, and if there's any question, make sure you have the means of treating the water as well.
So, Brian, I appreciate the tips, and people can find out that information at Be Ready on your website. But when you start talking about mixing, that just makes me nervous. But I've already, because of your great tips and your advice over the years, I have several gallons of water stored. Just remind me, do I have to at some point dump that out and replenish it, or does that just last as long as I have it in those storage containers?
Right. If you're using municipal water, that water, you don't need to add anything to it. It should be good for a number of years. Now, depending on where you store it, if you store it in ideal conditions, that's cool, dark, and dry, maybe in your basement, something like that, you may not ever need to rotate it at all.
Okay.
Now, I check my water at least once a year. I give it a look test, make sure there's no floaties or any chemical-looking film on it.
You do not want
give it
floaties.
A smell test.
Yeah. Thanks for
No, you don't want the floaties.
Yeah.
Give it a smell test. Give it a taste test. If it's okay, then I top it up back off of the amount that I took out, and I'm good for another year. Now, if you store it out in the garage, something's always better than nothing. In the garage, maybe you rotate it every 3 to 4 years. If you've got to store it, if you've got nothing else other than like a balcony or something like that, you may need to rotate it every 6 months, probably in the spring and in the fall.
Yeah.
Brian Stinson with Be Ready Utah. Thanks so much for these very helpful ideas and valuable advice. Thank you.
Yeah, going back to what's going on in the town of Huntsville right now, the mayor telling us in the 9 o'clock hour of the show that they started looking for the leak right around December 10th. By Friday, they realized that they were in some serious trouble. They had to shut it off, at least temporarily. But now they're saying, you cannot drink the water in Huntsville. You can flush the toilet and shower.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story this hour. We have breaking news out of Madison, Wisconsin. Police say there's been multiple injuries now in a shooting at a Christian school there. They also say the shooter is down. ABC News reports the school has students from kindergarten through high school. Few other details available right now, but we'll bring those to you as soon as we have them. City of Huntsville has found a way to keep water flowing to homes that were cut off by a water leak. They can flush toilets and take showers now, but the water's not drinkable. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas lives in Eden, a town on the other side of Pineview Reservoir, opposite of Huntsville. He tells Dave and Dujanovic crews are lucky the leak happened now when the weather's not as bad as it could be for mid-December.
It's been a little bit warm. I think that's been helpful. The snow hasn't been as much as we've expected. That's bad for the ski resorts, but it's probably good for the people that are digging up the roads and whatnot.
Skordas says residents are going to Eden to get help from family and friends, filling up water jugs and doing their laundry. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is down now 59 points on the day, while the NASDAQ is up by 224. And our KSL weather. Looks like we've got clouds today, but things will clear up toward the end of the week. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:01.
News doesn't just mean information or dates.
It's the story of our local history being told in real time.
Be a part of the story. This is Tim Hughes and Amanda Dixon.
We hope to be a part of your story. We have you covered on KSL News Radio.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
This holiday season, give the gift of joy with Mrs. Kavanaugh's chocolates. Imagine the delight on your loved ones' faces as they unwrap a box of their handcrafted gourmet chocolates. From creamy caramels to chocolate-covered treats, each piece is made with love and the finest ingredients. Family owned for over 60 years, Mrs. Kavanaugh's offers a tradition of quality and care. Whether it's their famous chocolate-covered nuts or their decadent fudge, Mrs. Kavanaugh's has something to make every holiday moment sweeter. Find the perfect gifts this year for your family, friends, and employees at MrsKavanaughs.com or visit their retail store to explore their holiday specials and delicious corporate gifts. Order now and make the season unforgettable with the magic of Mrs. Kavanaugh's chocolates, where every bite is a memory. Share the sweetness.
You might not consider yourself a tech expert, but that doesn't mean you can't protect yourself from online scammers with a little help from McAfee Total Protection. Whether it's a fake missed delivery text or an urgent bank alert, these scams can look incredibly convincing. That's where McAfee Total Protection steps in. So go ahead, manage your finances and shop online. McAfee will help keep your device's privacy and identity safer. Visit McAfee.com/online protection today to get award-winning online protection for just $39.99 your first year. That's McAfee.com/online protection. Cancel anytime. Terms apply.
Traffic and weather together now, brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the Dino Pay app. And here's Heather Kelly.
Things are moving along very well all across the Wasatch Front. We did have a report of an accident southbound I-15 near Bangerter Highway. It looks like it was on the right shoulder, but it's now been moved off the freeway. You have good speeds if you're on the 201 freeway coming through Magna over toward I-15, and a good drive if you're trying to get into the mountains, either through Parley's Canyon or Big and Little Cottonwood Canyon. Heather Kelly in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy skies with a chance of showers in northern Utah, clearing later this week with an inversion building back up. And right now we're looking at 39 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Taylor Morgan is sitting in today for Dave Noriega. You and I have been tracking what little we know about this apparent school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin. Why don't we go to developing news right now and dip into, looks like CNN, Fox News, covering that live. Can we take CNN live to hear what they're reporting?
To your point, what you're describing is just a maybe calmer entrance with the canines. We just saw 3 officers going in video from just moments ago here. Rob, take us through this, because police officers have told CNN as they're working to clear the school and they have no one in custody. We're awaiting details, of course, but there is an array of possibilities here, which is the understanding that the shooter may be inside and is no longer a threat, is inside and is a threat. Explain to us whether that would be still active and ongoing. The body language that you were suggesting does make you wonder about perhaps not being inside and a threat, or that the shooter could be off scene. Take us through these possibilities.
Yeah, so as you mentioned, that the shooter is what we call neutralized or down hard, would be that he was shot and he's not posing a threat, as in handcuffed. They could be rendering medical assistance to him.
Rob, I'm so sorry. We do have an update from our Veronica Miracle, so that you are not going to have to speculate on this. Veronica, can you give us the latest that you're learning?
Absolutely. Our CNN's Shimon Prokopez actually spoke with the Madison police chief, and this is on the record here. 1 suspect is down. Several casualties have been reported, and there have been transports to hospitals, including children. 1 staff member has potentially been killed. They are still conducting secondary searches of the building and vehicles. So that's from the Madison police chief, according to our CNN, Shimon Prokopez. That's the latest.
Veronica, thank you so much for that update. Very significant news there. It appears that law enforcement believes that a suspect is down. We understand that there are several folks injured, at least 1 possibly dead, both children and staff being transported to local hospitals. We've got Rob D'Amico, if you're still with us. I think that speaks to some of the scenarios that you were describing and the demeanor that law enforcement had as we watched them enter the building. I wonder what the process looks like now.
Well, now I think that the canines are in there, again, to search things. There's oftentimes the possibility of a shooter dropping homemade explosives and other things, other booby traps. They'll probably do that if they do a search warrant when they identify the shooter and have to go search his house for evidence. You always want to look for devices because they know the police are going to come there. So that's probably what the canines are going in to do. They want
If you're just joining us, we are tracking developments out of Wisconsin,
first priority,
in Madison, Wisconsin specifically. We're following reports of a shooting at a Christian school there. Multiple people have been injured, according to what CNN is reporting. It's apparently taken place at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison. I'm watching video now on the CNN live feed, and it just streams and streams and streams of first responders, people gathered outside of the school. From what we understand right now, there does appear to be multiple injuries, perhaps one person dead, confirmed by the chief of police. And let's go ahead and listen back in to see what we know at this point.
Especially with small police departments. Large police departments have an entire PR department and they go to training for it. The smaller ones really need to get that training. And so they've been doing that through different programs because getting information out is very important.
And we're, just to update our viewers, looking at the scene there in Madison, Wisconsin from moments ago. There has been a shooting at a Christian school, Abundant Life Christian School, which is situated in a very residential area there. I want to bring in our Shimon Prokupez, who just got some reporting from law enforcement officials. Shimon, go back over what you've learned here.
So, Brianna, I've been in communication with the police chief there in Madison, Wisconsin, Chief Barnes, and he tells me that they believe at this point that there is a suspect down, that there are several casualties that have been transported to an area hospital, and some of those injured include children. There is also a teacher or a staff member that is injured as well, severely injured. That is something that they're still investigating, but that staff member also taken to the hospital and severely injured. They are conducting secondary searches, which is what we obviously always see in these situations where police go back in, they start to search to make sure there are no other suspects, no other gunmen on the loose. So that is what we are seeing develop now. They are doing the secondary searches, but obviously still a very much ongoing situation. We don't know if the gunman was a student or if it was someone outside, but as you've been reporting, the chief said he's expected to brief the media at about 15 after, so in about 5 minutes or so, we should hear from the chief.
Okay, so the chief of police in that area saying that he's going to have a briefing in about 5 minutes. We're going to be taking you there live as he gets set to brief the media and the public on what's going on in Madison, Wisconsin this morning. We do know that this shooting happened at Abundant Life Christian School. It is a kindergarten through 12th grade school. CNN reporting saying it has approximately 400 students who attend that school, according to its website. It's a pretty large campus. It looks like it's close to 30 acres and leans towards smaller class sizes. So there's a lot of questions that we don't have answers to at this point, Taylor. But here we have just, days before. I'm sure the kids were ready. It's getting set to go off for holiday break. A shooting that it certainly involves multiple injuries, and we don't know yet the number of casualties.
So tragic. We know that children are among the injured in the school shooting that's been reported. We know that multiple children have been transported to nearby hospitals. Not sure about casualties of any students there. Of course, we are learning that the police are reporting that the suspected shooter is down.
Yeah.
Tragic situation developing in Wisconsin.
And let's go over now to Fox News' coverage to see if we can learn anything more.
Telling, and my hope and prayer is that there are no fatalities. These school shootings are happening all too often. This cannot be happening in America. Violence is not the way for people to deal with their grievances. And unfortunately, having worked violent crime for the FBI in Miami, in the Southern District of Florida, and across the nation, we are seeing people dealing with their problems through violence. And that cannot be tolerated, and especially not against our most vulnerable, which are the students. and the children of America. It's unacceptable, and it's got to come to an end. But the key right now is to determine who the shooter is and the safety of the students inside that school.
It's interesting, Nicole, you brought up the Parkland shooting, and, you know, in that shooting, there was a lot of controversy about deputies not going in immediately at the sound of gunfire. And I'm wondering, have the protocols changed? Have we gotten to a point in this country where there is somewhat of a national protocol where you go in? Or is it kind of still state by state, case by case?
We're tracking developments live right now out of Madison, Wisconsin, where we've been reporting about a shooting that has left multiple either students, staff members dead at a Christian school there. It's Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin, where about 400 students attend that school. We're expecting a live update, a briefing any moment now from the chief of police, and we're going to be standing by for that.
Dave and Dujanovic.
A lot of us are filling our workdays with podcasts.
When you're working, go to kslnewsradio.com.
Click on Dave and Debbie's podcast and pick a topic and story length.
Podcast with Dave and Debbie. Then get to work with KSL News Radio.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio.
If your family is obsessed with Wicked like my grandkids are, you're probably wondering how much streaming and memeing your internet can handle at your kid's next Wicked-themed sleepover. Well, Xfinity Internet is powerful enough to handle hundreds of devices so you can get a magical connection with fast speeds and amazifying power even when everyone is online at the sleepover. With Wi-Fi that's truly thrillifying, one might even say Xfinity engineers are secretly wizards themselves. Now through December 22nd, get Xfinity Gig Internet for $25 a month for 12 months when you add unlimited mobile and get Peacock Premium, a $7.99 a month value included at no extra cost, or lock in your internet price for 2 years for just $5 more a month with a 1-year contract. Early termination fee applies. Go to Xfinity.com to learn more and keep the magic going from your screen to the big screen and see Wicked only in theaters. Restrictions apply. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account equipment taxes and fees extra. After promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary.
Hey guys, do you have a garage door guy? Because, I have a mechanic, I have someone that I trust, but I've never really thought about having somebody for a garage door.
Well, new year, new you. You have one now with Advanced Garage Doors. They've got certified technicians who are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they'll give you same-day service.
And they're going to give you some peace of mind, too, because any garage door or motor that is installed by Advanced Garage Doors includes a free inspection and tune-up once a year.
And I want to remind you, too, that maybe in 2025, you want a new garage door. Well, this is awesome for you because you can design your dream garage door right on their website.
A new garage door can transform the look of your home, and there isn't a larger change that you can make to your home than a big old beautiful garage door.
So there's a couple of ways you can get a hold of them. Let me give you the phone number, 801-252-5977. One more time, 801-252-5977.
Or online at advanced-door.com.
Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Healthcare with human kindness is here. Hello, human kindness.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bonas. First, police in Madison, Wisconsin say there's been a shooting at the Abundant Life Christian School with multiple injuries. They also say the shooter is down. Second, President-elect Trump says the polio vaccine won't go away, even with Robert F. Kennedy as Secretary of Health and Human Services. Third, the city of Huntsville says water is flowing again to homes in town, but it's not yet safe to drink. 41 degrees, mostly cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
Dave and Dujanovic.
We are tracking a developing story right now out of Madison, Wisconsin, where any moment now we expect the chief of police to bring us an update after it's been reported that there's multiple people who've been injured in a school shooting at Abundant Life Christian School, which is a K through 12th grade school in Madison.
Yeah, appears to be a large campus there in Wisconsin, Debbie. Approximately 400 students from kindergarten through 12th grade. Definitely a tragic situation unfolding. Multiple casualties, multiple children have been transported to nearby hospitals. Shooter is down. Looking forward to this press conference to get more information.
Details, yeah, for sure. They responded to the shooting at about 11 o'clock this morning and telling people to avoid the area. We have seen numerous, it is a sea of first responders lined up there with lights on, I'm sure going lights and siren to the school there. I want to go back to Fox News's coverage right now. They have been covering this, as has CNN and News Nation. But let's listen into Fox for just a moment to see what they know.
Parents coming by, or if this is just random traffic, it's unclear. But if you talk as the zones, cold, hot, warm, what is your take on the view you're seeing now? Are you surprised that we're not seeing any students being taken out of the building at all? Does it give you some inclination that maybe the shooting happened outside of the school building?
Well, it's hard to say if, based on the vantage point that I have, I can't tell you if it happened inside or outside of the school, but I can tell you we're looking at the cold zone, and this is the area that you're not as susceptible to gunfire. But another thing that I should have brought up earlier, in terms of, we have two strategies when dealing with school shootings. We can either shelter in place or evacuate. That decision is determined based on the ability for the shooter to connect with a target-rich environment, which would be the students. If the students have the ability to evacuate and not be harmed, by all means, the evacuation strategy would be employed. However, if that is not the option, the students would be best suited to shelter in place, because in a school, you have the ability to lock doors, you have steel doors, you have an amalgamation of different assets that can be used to protect the students. So this appears as if the students have been sheltered in place and they didn't evacuate.
Okay, so we're still waiting on this update right now, but
they believe now that the situation itself is under control. And now what they're doing are secondary searches to make sure there are no other gunmen, no other suspects that they're looking for. But obviously a very frightening
We've now turned our coverage
here.
over to
You have
CNN.
children
Let's listen.
That have been injured. You have staff members that have been injured, and police are still trying to sort through everything. I asked if the gunman was a student or if it was from somebody outside. I have not heard back from the chief yet. So obviously they are still trying to gather everything, and I believe they'll have a lot of information for us once the chief takes to the mics. But a very serious situation here. Yet again, we're dealing with a school shooting. You know, immediately when I texted with the police chief, that's what he told me. He said, we're dealing with a school shooting here. This is something that I know this chief has trained for, has dealt with, and it is something that has been on the top of mind for them there in Madison, Wisconsin, as it is for every police chief across the country now, having to face this threat. And this is something that certainly they have been preparing for. And I hope here soon we will hear more information from him.
Do we know, Shimon, anything about the exact timing here and about the response?
No, I don't know, because as this was developing, so I would say to you it was around maybe or so, close to 1 o'clock that I started texting with him, and it took some time to hear from him. So sometime around that point, they already knew that they had the situation contained. So just before 1 o'clock, they realized that the situation was contained. Suspect being down usually means that it was a suspect that was shot, whether self-inflicted or by the police. That's usually what that means to me, but I've not been able to get Brianna any more information at this point. But it seems like from everything that I communicated with him about, it seems that at the very least, they do have the situation under control.
Shimon, please stand by and keep us posted with the latest. I do want to let our viewers know that Wisconsin's Governor Tony Evers just posted on social media talking about this school shooting, saying, quote, "I am closely monitoring the incident at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison. We are praying for the kids, educators, and entire Abundant Life School community as we await more information and are grateful for the first responders who are working quickly to respond, end quote. Again, we are set to hear from police just moments from now. A press conference was originally scheduled for 1:15 p.m. I want to go to Veronica Miracle, who's also been monitoring this story for us. And Veronica, you have some information about what makes this school and this campus. Actually, here comes the police chief now. Let's listen in as we wait for an update from officials.
Usually this is where I start and I say thank you for coming and talk about how important the media is to our community. But the truth is, today is a sad, sad day, not only for Madison, but for our entire country, where yet another police chief is doing a press conference to speak about violence in our community, specifically in one of the places that's most sacred to me as someone who loves education and to someone who has children that are in schools. So I'm gonna tell you what I know. I'll answer any questions that I can. There'll be a secondary briefing that our PIO will let you know about, okay? Today, around 10:57 a.m., our officers were responding to a call of an active shooter at the Abundant Life Christian School here in Madison. When officers arrived, they found multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. We train on this almost quarterly. The last time we trained on this as commanders was approximately 2 weeks ago. The protocols are simple. Stop the killing, stop the dying, find out who's doing this. And the officers did that, and they did that adamantly. We had officers from around the county and around the state that came in support of this particular incident. Officers located a juvenile who they believe was responsible for this deceased in the building. Additionally, the officers began administering life-saving efforts to anyone who was wounded and making sure that those persons were transported. What we know is that a total of about 7 persons were transported from the scene to area hospitals for treatment. We know that at least 3 people have lost their lives, including a juvenile person. I don't have any other information about those persons who have lost their lives, and I'm not going to release that until we have, of course, spoken with family members and ensuring that they are fully aware of this tragic, tragic scene that occurred today. I want to thank all of the law enforcement partners and community members that came out to help, our friends at the ATF. I've gotten calls from my friends at the FBI, the State Patrol, the Sheriff's Office, Monona Police Department, our fire department. It goes on and on and on. Because this is something that we all prepare for, but we hope we never have to do. As you can see, we have a unification center that was immediately set up where parents and guardians and loved ones and grandparents wanted to get information about their loved ones, and we wanted to make sure that they were unified immediately. So we were doing more than one thing at one time. We're still going through methodically clearing that school, clearing every vehicle, and making certain that there's no other threats to this community, which we believe there are none. We immediately alerted our mayor's office, and I've been on the phone with her and her office constantly. We also alerted Madison schools. We put the schools on lockdown, but there's no threats to MMSD schools at this time. But we wanted to make sure that we did our due diligence in this particular case. Again, we're still going through collecting evidence, collecting information, making sure that our community is safe from what is a sad day for our community and for our country. And we have to do a little bit better. I don't have all the answers that you want right now, but I will tell you this: we have some of the best officers in the entire country. Our detectives are amazing. We're going to go and work hard and go through this scene so that we can piece together what exactly happened. Again, there'll be another briefing in about 2 hours, and if I have additional information, I will certainly let you know what that information is. Again, around 10:57 a.m., officers responded to an active shooter. They responded per our protocols. They found the person who they believed was responsible, who was down, deceased, We know that it's juvenile. We know that there are other persons who have lost their lives. We know that we've transported about 7 people after giving them life-saving measures. It's important to notice, too, that about 3 miles from here is our training center. Today, our special event team medics were in training. And so they got to practice in real time. They left the training center immediately and came down here and doing in real time what they were actually practicing for. And that's why training is so important, and making sure that we can provide the best possible training and the best possible response for our community members. I'm asking everyone to send your heartfelt wishes and prayers and thoughts yet again to a community, but this time it's my community. Dylan?
Yeah, can we start over here with questions? Chief, you mentioned you're a father, you're the police chief here in Madison. What emotions are you feeling right now after going through all that?
To be honest with you, I'm feeling a little dismayed now. So close to Christmas. Every child, every person in that building is a victim and will be a victim forever. And these types of trauma don't just go away. And we need to figure out and try to piece together what exactly happened. And right now, my heart is heavy for my community. My heart is heavy for Madison, and we have to come together as a community and figure out what happened here and make sure that it doesn't happen in any other place that should be a refuge for students in our community.
Right there.
That's Chief Sean Barnes of Madison, Wisconsin Police Department, giving a briefing on multiple people who've been injured and 3 dead in a school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin. It happened at about 11 o'clock a.m. In Madison. At least 2 victims and the juvenile shooter have been pronounced dead there on scene, and several others have been transported to local hospitals. This school it's a Christian school in Madison. There's about 400 students enrolled in this school, and it's K through 12th grade. So as we continue to get more information here back in studio at Broadcast House, we of course keep you up to date on the very latest throughout the day on this.
It's 11:31 at KSL News Radio. I'm Dan Bomas. KSL's top story. We now know that 3 people are dead, at least 7 transported to hospitals in a shooting at the Abundant Life Christian School in Madison, Wisconsin. Police Chief Sean F. Barnes telling reporters that the suspected shooter is a juvenile and was found dead when police arrived at that building. And they also have had responses from multiple agencies in the Madison, Wisconsin area. We'll have more on that story for you as details become available. In other national news, President-elect Trump is defending his choice of Robert F. Kennedy Jr. as Secretary of Health and Human Services. He's dismissing concern about the polio vaccine, even though Kennedy's attorney once lobbied to have its approval revoked.
I think you're going to find that Bobby is a very rational guy. I found him to be very rational. No, nothing, you're not going to lose the polio vaccine. That's not going to happen.
And Trump was asked about kids in school being required to get vaccines to enroll, said he's not a big fan of mandates. Your money at this moment, the Dow Jones average is down 19 points right now, but the NASDAQ is up by 249. And our KSL weather looks like clouds today, but things will clear up toward the end of the week. That's next. KSL News Time, 11:32.
You know what's great about KSL's traffic coverage? Trained traffic reporters and real listeners.
Trading information and making the commute safer and faster for everyone.
Every 10 minutes on the 9s, we have you covered on KSL News Radio.
Paid for by government. Now is the time to fill your vault with Morgan Silver Bars. Grab your piece of America's silver legacy with this special offer. These spectacular shining silver bars featuring a crisp image of the iconic Morgan silver dollar, a legendary coin that has captivated collectors for generations. Americans treasure owning silver bars and coins, putting them away for themselves and their loved ones. Call now to secure 1-ounce silver bars minted in 99.9% pure silver and made in the the USA. You'll be glad you did. Hurry, don't miss out on this special deal. Save $10 per silver bar. The more you buy, the more you save. Limit of 25 bars per customer. Call to learn more. Plus, with qualifying orders, you'll receive a free Morgan Silver Dollar. That's a $59.95 value and free shipping. Call 1-800-222-3967 now to secure your 1-ounce Morgan Silver Dollar bars. That's 1-800-222-3967.
This Friday, join KSL News Radio and NPS from 10 to 1 as the movie show stops by. Then, browse and uncover what makes NPS so great. With 4 locations, NPS takes a new inventory every day. Then, they check all competitors' retail pricing before marking items down 20 to 70% off. You're invited to visit the movie show this Friday from 10 to 1. And that's the first step to discovering NPS. Visit npsstore.com to begin your own NPS adventure. npsstore.com.
It's the happiest time of the year. In this season of gift giving, you know what they really want.
A dolly that laughs and cries? A hammer and lots of tacks?
They want emergency preparedness supplies. No, really. Holidays and birthdays are a great time to give the gift of preparedness. Imagine their surprise when they unwrap an emergency alert radio.
Honey, this is wonderful.
How about smoke detector?
Oh, I'm gonna install these right now. Yeah!
Or backpacks for disaster supply kits.
All right!
Holidays are a great excuse to give preparedness and peace of mind to those you care about. Showing them how the gift fits in their emergency plans increases its value exponentially. For more information on how you can prepare for disasters, visit beready.utah.gov. Be ready, Utah. A message from the Utah Department of Public Safety.
Traffic and weather together brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. Here's Heather Kelly.
We actually have a good drive in progress on all the Valley freeways. Salt Lake City PD working a crash at 9th West and 2000 South. Merry Christmas from our family to yours. Receive the gift of $5,000 off 2024 Silverado HDs. Murdoch Chevrolet in Logan or Woods Cross. MurdochChev.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Partly cloudy with a chance of showers in northern Utah, clearing later this week with an inversion building back up. And right now we're looking at 41 degrees with mostly cloudy skies. I'm Dan Bomas from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Several Utah lawmakers have written an opinion piece. It's entitled, "It's Time to Simplify Utah Elections." Read this opinion piece in the Deseret News, and we're going to speak with Utah Representative Trevor Lee, who's one of the authors of this opinion piece. And specifically, they dive into 2 areas that they're looking at. One is SB 54, it's Senate Bill 54, which is the signature path to allow candidates to go out in the community, gather signatures so they get their name on a primary election ballot. In addition to caucus meetings and the convention. And the second element that they address is vote by mail. Vote by mail has been around for probably the better part of a decade in Utah, but they say there's some issues with it. And like I said, this opinion piece is entitled "It's Time to Simplify Utah Elections." Taylor Morgan in today for Dave Noriega. You have had a hand in SB 54. Before we get to Utah State Representative Trevor Lee, who's live on the line with us, make sure we walk through our disclosure on that.
Yeah, let's be transparent. Yeah. I want to disclose that I continue to serve as the executive director of Count My Vote. Mm-hmm. That's the Utah organization that implemented the signature path through SB 54 back in 2014. I also, Debbie, have a clear and compelling bias because I worked in the state elections office when we piloted and tested statewide vote by mail. I was there back in 2012 when that was starting. So I have some experience on these issues. I have a conflict or a bias, and I want to make sure I'm transparent about that. And now that I have disclosed, hopefully appropriately, Debbie, let's bring on Representative Trevor Lee, who just might, I suspect, have a different opinion on some of this stuff than I would.
Good morning, Representative Lee.
Hey guys, how you doing?
Good. So it's time to simplify Utah elections, according to this title on the opinion piece. What got you together with your colleagues on the Hill to pen this opinion piece?
Well, as you guys know, there have been a lot of scrutiny with our election process. There's been a lot of problems that we've seen, whether it goes back to a special election over a year ago to how our signatures are gathered, to verifying those, and now we are at a headways of showing that there are a ton of voters who are upset that potentially the candidate of their choice did not win because there were issues with the election office or potential bias in the LG's office with situations. I mean, it's a whole mess of issues that we're seeing across the board with our elections, and we believe that there's a different way to do it.
So would you want to eliminate the signature path to the ballot for candidates? Let's just start there.
I would like to. I don't think I mean, there's enough human error involved with the signature verification process that there are enough close races that it has made a difference that I don't think it's the right way to verify someone's identity. I think it needs to be a strict voter ID that you show at the polling locations when you go in to vote. That's the best way to make sure that the person casting that ballot is the person who is voting.
Yeah, Representative Lee, appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us in this conversation. Of course, based on the recent legislative audit committee report on voting by mail, we learned that 2 dead Utah voters cast a ballot in the 2024 general. We learned that approximately 1,400 ballots were mailed to likely deceased voters. We learned about some issues with the timeline and process of auditing elections by county clerks after Election Day. So definitely some things in the system and in the process that we can always improve. So my opinion, representatively, to be clear, is I like vote by mail because I think it has had a huge impact in a positive way on increasing voter participation. But give me the other side of that. Is there an argument to be made that those who vote in person might be better informed or more engaged in the process? Is that also a reason why you're looking at doing this?
I mean, we could go back and forth on, is it better to vote in person or not? And I'm going to take a step back and look at it from the security of our elections that we have. If any report that you see going back to when they had the independent study with Jimmy Carter and those groups after the Bush Kerry elections and the issues they had down there in Florida with recounting, everyone came back and said, look, if you want a safe, secure election, the best way to do it is in person. So whether people like vote by mail or not, I think is not the discussion to be had here. It's more of what is the safest way to have elections that we can verify and not have problems, not have issues with chain of custody, and make sure that people have trust in our elections. Trust is at an all-time low with elections, and I think that vote by mail is adding to that because we have tried to make this so simple and easy for everyone to vote that it's actually made it more complicated. It's 3 weeks of voting. You've got people who can register the day of. In Utah is a predominantly Republican state. It's a very easy way for a lot of Democrats to just register as Republicans and infiltrate the Republican primaries. And so there's just a lot of insecurities that we're seeing with the election process when you have vote by mail. Not that maybe it's better or increases turnout, but that it's hard to find the chains of custody and make sure that that person is the one who is voting.
So it's hard to argue the convenience of vote by mail, just because, a lot of us like being able to sit at the kitchen table and research some of the candidates, that particularly the judges, maybe we don't know about, where we're not feeling rushed by a long line of people behind us. What's your plan if there is no vote by mail? Is it just we go back to, pre 2000 and we all stand in line again on one day? Is that what your vision is?
No, Debbie, that's a good question. I don't think vote by mail is going anywhere just because so many people like it. It's become extremely convenient for most, and like you're mentioning, instead of waiting in line all day, which some people like, but for others who do want to research the candidates, technically you don't need a ballot to do that. You can research and do that on your own anyway.
Yeah. Right.
But let's say you do want to send a ballot to someone's home. Well, what if we had it so that you had to turn in your ballot and show your ID at a polling location? Well, then you still had it 3 weeks in advance. You can still have those discussions at the dinner table. Okay. You still send the ballot to a home. But then you're not getting dead people voting. Then, all those people who get it sent to their house, and maybe they do have a more lazy approach to it, and they want to sit in their pajamas and sit at home. Well, you still need to get up and go show your ID with that vote. I don't know if you would call that vote by mail. I think you would call it your ballots by mail, but you turn it in at a polling location and show your ID.
Well, these are all interesting thoughts. Do you think this will come up during the legislative session and starting in January?
Oh, yeah. There's going to be a plethora of bills that are going to be run to address these issues. What happened in, I believe it was CD2 with Toby and Celeste, as we mentioned in our article. With everything going on with signature verification and with Phil Lyman and Spencer Cox, it's interesting to see the issues that arose from that can be simplified with some bills that we're going to run. For example, a bill that I have is that all these signatures that are being gathered, there needs to be some transparency to the candidates there. That's crazy. It's crazy when you see a list of signatures gathered and every single line is just private.
Okay.
There needs to be transparency so that a candidate can say, well, I don't know, because if whether you agree or disagree with Phil Lyman, he was right. When he said, I don't think that the governor has the signatures, he actually was proven right. And so that kind of issue could be eliminated if we said, hey, you need to allow, if someone's going to sign a signature packet, you need to make sure that that's public information if you want to sign it, and make that disclosed at the door, however you want to do that.
Yeah. Representative Trevor Lee, thank you so much for joining KSL News Radio. Appreciate the conversation. I imagine you and I will have a lot to talk about in the lead up to the session, and look forward to that conversation.
Dave and Dujanovic.
You know KSL is the only news radio for your car, right?
The only news radio for your smart speaker.
Come here in the morning. It's the latest news and traffic. In the afternoon, news and updated weather.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
Since 1954, Master Electrical Service has been around, so you have some expertise when they've joined forces with Mountain Home Services.
That's right. So now it's not only your electrical services that they can take care of, but also your HVAC, your heating and air, your plumbing.
And that's crucial because it all comes with that upfront pricing guarantee. One-stop shopping, folks. And an upfront pricing guarantee means when they come out and they give you a bid, they're going to honor that bid. How revolutionary is that?
That's right. The price that they quote you up front is the price you pay when the job is done, which means there are no hidden fees.
Make sure you check them out, Mountain Home Services, by going to their website, mountainhomeutah.com.
Or you can call them at 801-543-2222, 801-543-2222.
And fireplaces. Don't forget about the fireplaces. They are doing that as well. So make sure you check them out, Mountain Home Services, at their website, mountainhomeutah.com.
Welcome to Staples.
Help! My family's in for the holidays and I need gift ideas.
That's why we're here. Staples has amazing deals on everything you need. Photo gifts, laptops, and gaming systems. Even custom holiday cards and shipping solutions to send gifts to the family that can't make it.
Perfect! Have anything for Uncle Frank? I love him, but the guy is never quiet.
Noise-canceling headphones. for you.
You get it.
Unwrap huge holiday savings at Staples. And right now at Staples, save up to $350 on select computers. Ends 12/28, in-store only.
Here's another great reason to use the United States Postal Service this season. Your boxes are wrapped and the gifts are in. Our employees are ready. Let the holiday ride begin. Let's start with the price. It's easy to manage when you ship with the reliable USPS Ground Advantage. In just a few days, it's sure to arrive. We're working nonstop to keep the spirit alive. USPS Ground Advantage, the affordable and reliable shipping solution for the holidays. Visit USPS.com/advantage.
Hi, it's Kathy.
And Jason from Window World.
Doug and I have always been called the mom and pop Window World business.
Where folks are treated like family.
Well, now it's mom and kids.
And you'll still be treated like family.
Here's our welcome to the family special.
4 windows and a patio door, only $56.12.
That's right, folks. 4 windows and a patio door, only $56.12.
Find us online at windowworldutah.com.
Window World, simply the best.
And as Doug always said,
that's no baloney.
This is Derek Miller speaking on business. Knot and Spool creates a welcoming and charming atmosphere, specializing in custom ribbon sets and handcrafted wreaths that blend artistic creativity with exceptional quality. Their shop offers a delightful shopping experience, making it a must-visit destination for everyone. Marketing specialist Madeline Reynolds joins us with more.
At Knot and Spool, we believe the pieces you choose for your home should be personal and meaningful. Our store offers handcrafted decor from custom wreaths and ribbon sets to seasonal items, each designed to bring warmth and charm to any space. Every product is thoughtfully curated to add a unique touch, whether you're decorating your own home or searching for the perfect gift. No matter the occasion, you'll find something special that tells a story. Our mission is to foster a space where creativity and connection can thrive. Each item we offer is crafted with care, ensuring it enhances your home in a meaningful way. With seasonal window displays that add touch of magic to the shopping experience, we invite you to visit us and explore what makes Knot and Spool so unique. Join us at 6088 South Highland Drive or shop online at knotandspool.com.
Knot and Spool is dedicated to supporting local artisans and offering unique, creatively crafted items that foster connection. It's the perfect destination for anyone seeking a thoughtful gift or inspiration to enhance their own home. I'm Derek Miller with the Salt Lake Chamber, speaking on business.
With the 3 things you need to know this hour, I'm Dan Bomas. First, police in Madison, Wisconsin say 5 people have died in a shooting at a private Christian school. That includes the suspected shooter, who police say was a juvenile. Second, former President Trump says the polio vaccine is not at risk as his new administration takes office. And third, the city of Huntsville found a workaround to get water flowing to homes after an underground water main break. They're still working to fix that. 41 degrees and cloudy in Salt Lake City. And back to Dave and Dujanovic on KSL News Radio.
We're following a developing story out of Madison, Wisconsin, where we know that a gunman that is now being reported was a student at the school, is a juvenile, is accused of shooting multiple staff members or students at this Christian school in Madison, where we now know that 4 people are dead. And also, according to police, so is the shooter. This is Chief Sean Barnes. You heard him live moments ago right here on KSL News Radio.
Today, around 10:57 a.m., our officers were responding to a call of an active shooter at the Abundant Life Christian School here in Madison. When officers arrived, they found multiple victims suffering from gunshot wounds. Officers located a juvenile who they believe was responsible for this deceased in the building. Additionally, the officers began administering life-saving efforts to anyone who was wounded and making sure that those persons were transported.
Also, numerous other people taken to local hospitals. This is a developing story, and we will continue to update it throughout the noon hour, and then, of course, at 3 o'clock this afternoon as well, when Jeff Kaplan takes over the microphone.
Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
Our other big story that we've been tracking today is the town of Huntsville was and is still in a water crisis and has been for several days now, where the 1 million-gallon water tank essentially drained.
And that 900,000 plus gallons of water, Debbie, is nowhere to be found.
We spoke earlier today to the mayor, Mayor Ron Sorensen of Huntsville. He called the show, and they've been working since December 10th, he said, when they first detected, or at least went out, they detected a problem on December 9th. But then things rose to a crisis level Thursday into Friday.
The good thing yesterday, we were able to put a valve in, so we had nothing there was no way to isolate the system for that full length of 4,000 feet. So yesterday we were able to cut the line and put a valve in about halfway up, and then we did pressure tests. We pressurized the line and did pressure tests, and we were able to eliminate the full top half of the line. So we know that the leak is on the bottom half of that 4,000-foot line.
So they still haven't identified the exact spot of the leak. So until they identify it, they can't repair it. In the meantime, residents have been at one point told they could go, down to Eden and over to Eden and take showers. Then they managed to get a fire hose hooked up to a fire hydrant in order to make sure that residents can at least have enough water to take showers and flush their toilet.
Yeah, that's something I hadn't thought about when I first was looking at this story early today. Debbie, you need water to flush your toilets, right? Definitely a necessity.
It's still a boil order. Can't drink the water there. So still in a crisis this morning. Lonnie Bailey, you're a Huntsville resident. How are things going at this almost noon hour for you?
Well, it's been a little chaotic here in the sleepy town of Huntsville since Friday, but we're seeing a light at the end of the tunnel.
So what is that light? And is it water out of the tap that you can actually drink?
Well, no, there's still a boil alert, but they were able to put water into the main line. They've bypassed some things at the treatment plant to allow the water to charge the line. So late last night we were able to use our tap water for flushing the toilet, dishwasher, that sort of thing, a wash machine. But yeah, there still is a boil order in effect.
Okay, so how long do you boil this water? Have you boiled water? We had earlier Be Ready Utah on, and Brian Stinson with Be Ready Utah said here in Utah you have to boil water for 3 to 4 minutes. Have you been boiling water?
We have not. Luckily for us, we have some close neighbors that are on their own personal well that have allowed us to use their home for the shower, the wash machine, that sort of thing. And I think you're seeing a response like that valley-wide. There's been the surrounding communities have really stepped up and are letting residents come use their homes, for showering, washing laundry, that sort of thing. So it's been an overwhelming response, community-wide, and people have really stepped up and rallied around us to offer, their homes to us.
Lonnie Bailey is a resident of Huntsville, the town. It's kind of near Pineview Reservoir, actually, if you're not familiar with that area.
Beautiful area.
One of the things that the mayor said earlier on our show, Lonnie, is that they were kind of hoping maybe Thursday or Friday to have things back online, but then he detailed a list of things that need to happen once they isolate the leak. It sounds like obviously a major leak. They repair it. They got to go into the tank and clean the tank that has been drained as a result of this leak. What are you hearing in our final question here is the timeline from the city to have things repaired?
Well, we're kind of hearing the same thing. With a leak of that magnitude, there's going to be some sanitation issues going forward to where possible groundwater leaks into the main line. So there's going to be a window there that the tank is going to have to be sanitized. The main lines coming down into Huntsville town will have to have some chlorine added, maybe additional chlorine to kill any bacteria or anything like that before residents are able to use it for drinking purposes and that sort of thing. So, but I can't praise Mayor Sorensen enough, and the rest of the town officials on their response to this. It has just been above and beyond, and they've kept us updated every day. So, yeah, I think we're in good hands.
Yeah. Lonnie Bailey, Huntsville resident, thanks so much for joining the show. We wish you all the best. I will say, Debbie, we've had multiple Huntsville residents on the show today, and the mayor. Everyone is pulling together and so positive about this.
Yeah, Lonnie's not the only one to say this. We spoke earlier with Craig Olson, another resident in Huntsville.
And I've had neighbors calling, and how are you? And we're checking on neighbors, our elderly neighbors. And tell you what, this community has really, and the surrounding communities have really come together to help each other out. And so I have to be happy.
So what we know about this water crisis in Huntsville is it does appear to be some sort of an infrastructure failure, perhaps with the piping there. They're still trying to isolate the exact source of the leak. But this is a 1 million-gallon water storage tank that just dropped over the course of several days. But by the time they got to Friday morning, it was at 6% capacity. So you go from 1 million gallons, and you asked him that question, Taylor, about like how much water was actually in the tank, down to 60,500 gallons. And so the city and crews are scrambling to find the source of the leak, get that thing patched up, and get things repaired, get that tank sanitized, and get the water back up and running. For now, though, the boil order remains in place in Huntsville, but you can shower and you can flush the toilets. Maria's up with more.
KSL FM Midvale.
KSL Salt Lake City.
From the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios, this is KSL News Radio.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time is 12 o'clock noon, and this is Utah's Noon News. I'm Maria Shaleos. KSL's top story this hour, and it is breaking news. At least 5 people are dead. 5 more are injured after a shooting at a Christian school in Madison, Wisconsin.
Officers located a juvenile who they believe was responsible for this deceased in the building.
Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes there. ABC's Dave Packer has more on what we know about the shooting.
Well, it happened at Abundant Life Christian School. That school, about 390 students from kindergarten through high school, according to its website. The school is now clear. There's no further threat. Madison Rios, reporter with ABC News TV affiliate WKOW, is outside what appears to be a reunification area.
It looks like it's parents. We've seen people running out of their cars here, running towards the building. There's first responders right over that way, and it looks like they're trying to be reunified with their student. I mean, I can't even begin to imagine. This would be everybody's worst nightmare.
A woman who says her grandson was shot on the arm spoke with ABC affiliate WISN in Wisconsin. Here's James Stratton.
Just angry, upset. Why? What's the reason? Talk to somebody. If you've got problems, talk to somebody. You don't have to settle your differences with a gun. Whatever it is, just talk to somebody.
Now she tells James Stratton that she's now rushing to Madison where her grandson is in the hospital. ABC's Chief Justice correspondent Pierre Thomas says today's school shooting adds to an ongoing line of tragedies in the U.S.
Last year, there were 656 mass shootings. That's where 4 or more people are shot or killed or wounded. This year to date, 486. And law enforcement officials, although they're seeing progress, remain worried that this is now routine.
Police in Madison are expected to give another update in about a half an hour. We will take it live when it happens. Have drones come to Utah? People are turning to social media to share sightings. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson is in a Kaysville neighborhood where residents spotted something in the sky last night. Britt?
Maria, Kaysville resident Jamie Clark said that last night at about 10 o'clock, she and her neighbors spotted objects in the sky closer than any planes have been before. There were about 10 of them total, moving in an irregular pattern, also with lights blinking differently than typical aircraft. Clark's Facebook post had dozens of comments with more claims of sightings. Clark says that with everything happening with the drones on the East Coast, she just wants transparency with what exactly is going on. Hazel police say that they haven't gotten any reports or any information at their office about the objects in the sky. Reporting live, Britt Johnson, KSL News Radio.
Lawmakers in the Northeast are urging the federal government to use high-tech drone hunters as more drones are spotted in the area. Retired U.S. Air Force fighter pilot Jeffrey Needles tells ABC News FAA data lists the devices flying legally.
If anybody has a sighting, it's very easy to go marry that up against the information on these FAA recordings and say, hey, you saw this thing in the sky. Yep, we know at that time and location that it was this aircraft flying overhead. So there are ways to match those things up. I think clearly if you're having people operating drones where they're not turning on that transponder, then there's obviously some sort of clandestine intent from those operators.
Needles says the FAA needs to prohibit drone operations over critical infrastructure, military facilities, and other national security sites. Other local news KSL is following. It's referred to as a hospital without walls. KSL News Radio's Tammy Kikuchi reports on the expanded Assertive Community Treatment Team.
Up to 100 more of Salt Lake County's most vulnerable residents can now receive services. ACT, or Assertive Community Treatment, has added a fifth team, which provides mental health treatment. The ACT team focuses on people with serious mental illness, but struggle with traditional outpatient services. At the same time, these are frequent users of emergency services, hospitals, homeless shelters, and jails. Team members include therapists, nurses, prescribers, and case managers.
ACT team members go where clients need services, including homeless shelters and homes. Police are once again urging people to be safe on the roads after several fatal crashes this weekend. One of them happened yesterday on US 91 near Logan. Utah Highway Patrol Corporal Eddie Wright says one car hydroplaned and hit another car, killing the one person in it.
People have just got to remember that those important things to slow down, give themselves a little bit more time to get to and from places. Utah weather can change pretty quickly.
We also saw fatal crashes in Spanish Fork Canyon and Eagle Mountain on Saturday. 3 people were also taken to the hospital after getting thrown from a car that rolled on I-15 near Layton yesterday. A woman in Lehigh crashed into a gas station after driving with her dog on her lap. According to KSL TV, the woman told police that her dog had jumped onto the floorboard in an attempt to grab the dog. She accidentally hit the gas pedal and crashed into a gas station. The car hit a support beam. There was minor collapse of the building. No one was hurt, and the woman was cited for reckless driving. City leaders in Orem have rejected a plan to rezone and build more housing near Wilkerson Farm in the Canyon Park Tech Center at 1203 North and 630 East. City Council says it's important to preserve the nature and land in the area. Discussion will continue in a few months when the council looks at the application again. First look traffic. Good afternoon, Ricky.
Good afternoon, Maria. Nice and quiet on the Valley freeways. No problems there. We have had an accident at 1300 South and 3rd West. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL quarters for Christmas time, 12:06.
Utah's news, traffic, and weather station as close as your pocket.
I usually go to the KSL app.
Because it's on your phone, you have such a wide ability to choose what you're listening to.
That's the only news app that I use.
Listen anytime, anywhere with the KSL News Radio app.
Hi, this is Doug Wright. The other night, Dee and I had the chance to see Beauty and the Beast, Disney's Beauty and the Beast, at Hale Center Theater. It is something you do not want to miss this holiday season. The voices delivering those beloved songs to perfection is simply wonderful. I asked Dee, what was your favorite part? And she's seen a lot of versions of Beauty and the Beast, literally around the world. She said, where do you possibly start on this? But the costumes were spectacular. She loved Belle's ensemble. With Hale Center Theater's magic, it is incredible. The staging and the special effects, the transformation from Beast to the Prince is simply masterful. Hale Center Theater, don't miss Beauty and the Beast. And give a gift of Hale Center Theater. Whether it's tickets to A Christmas Carol, gift cards make a great gift, season tickets to the 2025 season, it awaits you. Go to hct.org.
The holidays are a time for reflection on what matters most and the relationships that make life meaningful. At Trajan Wealth, we're proud to be a trusted partner for many of you on your financial journey. Whether you're planning for tomorrow or looking to build a legacy, we believe in doing what's right every time. As a veteran-owned company, I know trust isn't given. It's earned through honesty, integrity, and a commitment to putting our clients' needs first. For those of you that have heard my commercials for years but haven't yet called, know that most of our clients come to us from other financial advisors. You know you deserve more from your financial advisor. Our team, who have the hearts of teachers, are standing by for that second opinion. I promise we won't waste your time. This is more than our duty, it's our passion. So this holiday season, let us help you unwrap the gift of Trajan Wealth. Call Trajan today at 801-899-7600.
Advisory services offered through Trajan Wealth LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor.
Any Hour Services can help you make sure your furnace keeps you warm this winter. Whether you need a tune-up, a repair, or a second opinion about replacing it, call Any Hour Services or visit anyhourservices.com.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News, recapping our top story. At least 4 are dead in a school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin. Police say they believe that the gunman also died in that shooting. KSL News Time, 12:08. Alta Ski Resort is testing a new avalanche controls technology. KSL News Radio's Brianna Willis has more.
A new video by Ski Utah features, among other tech, the BW Exploder, or Boom Whoosh. The Boom Whoosh is a RAC, a remote avalanche control system, developed in Jackson Hole for North America. The essential difference Boom Whoosh has from its European competitors is how it receives its fuel. A mix of gas is sent to the funnel from as far as 1 kilometer away. Alta Communications Manager Lexi Dowdle explains what happens.
That mixing of the ingredients is what causes the force that comes rushing out that nozzle at an extremely high speed. And the force of that will then hopefully trigger any weak layers that might be lurking in the snowpack that could cause an avalanche.
This is one of several new technologies being used as the military recalls the previously used howitzer. Brianna Willis, KSL News Radio.
Park City Ski Patrol Union has authorized a strike after failed negotiations with Vail Resorts. Union is looking for better pay comparable to other resorts' wages. Union representatives say that this doesn't mean that they will be on strike today. It just means that everyone in the union who voted would be willing to strike if it does come to that. Scammers know that they can prey on your sympathies at the holidays. That's why police say you should think twice before you fall for a sad social media post calling for help. KSL News Radio's Britt Johnson has more.
South Salt Lake Police Chief Danielle Croyle doesn't want anyone's donation to be misused. So if you're compelled to donate, give it to a reputable charity under that person's name. Then you can direct the recipient to go there. If you see organizations asking for donations on social media, do your homework.
Sad stories aren't the only questionable things swirling on social media during the holidays. Secret Santa-type posts ask people to disclose Cash App or Venmo usernames in hopes of receiving money. ReasonLabs.com says this can put you at risk of scams or fraud. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. Ricky, what's going on?
We are looking pretty good on all the Valley freeways, including I-15 north and southbound. Between Ogden and Provo, our main secondary is pretty quiet. We have had an accident up by the Capitol, 10th North, East Capitol Boulevard. That's almost cleared. And then the crash with Salt Lake City PD working on it at 1300 South and 3rd West. Give the perfect gift to your family this winter. Come and play in Bear Lake. Reserve your winter getaway now and relax during or after the holidays. Visit bearlake.org. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Look for mostly cloudy skies today with a high of 46 degrees. Late tonight, could see a couple of showers work into the northern Wasatch Front. Not expecting much from this. 30 in the overnight goes to 45 tomorrow afternoon with partly cloudy skies. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 43 degrees downtown. Coming up on Utah's Noon News, Salt Lake County is adding a new assertive community treatment or ACT team to help people who are suffering with serious mental illness. ACT Director Lindsay Bowden shares more of what that team will do. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station. If you were thinking, boy, it's really time to bite the big one and really take a look at your weight and make a difference, I want you to know about a special deal being offered right now by Salt Lake City Fat Loss because it can save you a lot of money, get you on the right track. Now, I've been telling you for months about this great program, how I've lost 40 pounds with it, how quickly that stored fat comes off. And this is an all-natural program. I'm so happy to have it on my side at this time of year where I not only know all the things that I need to do to not only enjoy the foods that I love, but keep those pounds off. And their app does keep me accountable. Again, if you want to lose weight fast and you want a huge discount, right now they are offering a huge holiday sale right now, 20% off, making it their lowest price of the year. You can start that program now, or you can wait until after the holidays, but you need to sign up now, lock in that huge discount. You need to lock it in by December 31st. Right now, the number to call, 801-450-1882, or go to slcfatloss.com, slcfatloss.com.
If you're trying to decide which gutter protection to put on your home, don't just ask how they'll handle leaves. Ask how they'll handle ice. Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors, and that's right, ice. See, plenty of gutter guards are good at keeping out leaves, but most are made with flimsy materials that can bend, buckle, and break under the weight of too much ice. Kind of a big problem in an icy state like Utah, right? At RGS Exteriors, our exclusive gutter protection systems are built Utah tough. They're made with premium strength materials that hold up to 1,200 pounds of ice per square foot. Simply put, they're not going to budge. Our gutter guards are also certified to handle hurricane-level winds and rain. Mother Nature can't damage them. Guaranteed. Utah Tough Products. That's the RGS way. For a free estimate, call 801-280-3110 or visit rgsexteriors.com. That's rgsexteriors.com or 801-280-3110.
Hey, this is Dan, the laptop man from PC Laptops. Myth. You might have heard that you need to spend a fortune these days to get a powerful computer. Correction. At PC Laptops, we wanted to prove that wrong. So here's the most amazing deal that we've ever done at PC Laptops for you in over 30 years. The new 2025 S1 desktop or SM3 laptop for only $999. You heard that right, $999. You get a blazing fast processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and over a terabyte of blazing storage for $999. What else you get? Lifetime service warranty, and we have 12 months special financing on approved credit. Take one home today. Hurry in right now because supplies are limited, because at PC Laptops, we love you. Just check us out at PCLaptops.com. $999, PCLaptops.com.
KSL News Time, 12:15. The three things you need to know this hour. First,
at least 4 people are dead after a school shooting in Madison, Wisconsin. Police say they believe the gunman also died in the shooting. I'm KSL News Radio's Verl Johansson.
Second, police in Utah responded to several serious crashes over the weekend that left 2 people dead and at least 8 people injured. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Good speeds up and down the I-15 corridor as well as the rest of the Valley freeways. Crews are clearing an accident at 3rd West and 1300 South. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
A small system late tonight, then it's high pressure taking over. I'm Matt Johnson.
Right now, mostly cloudy, 43 degrees downtown. Time for KSL's top national stories.
From ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. Police on scene in Wisconsin following a school shooting at Abundant Life Christian School in Madison. Authorities say at least 4 were killed, several others injured, and the shooter is also dead. Police describing the shooter as a juvenile and student at the K-12 school. Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes on the latest mass shooting in the nation.
We're still going through, collecting evidence, collecting information, making sure that our community is safe from what is a sad day for our community and for our country.
Police did not say if the shooter was a male or female, but believe they took their own life. ABC's Aaron Katursky with more.
The chief confirmed police officers who responded to the scene did not fire a shot. So that leads us to believe the shooter took his or her own life. And the chief would not confirm whether it was a male or female juvenile, but that juvenile was able to get a gun inside the building, open fire.
Parents are gathering at a nearby site of that school, waiting to reunite with loved ones. In Florida, President-elect Trump taking questions from reporters at his Mar-a-Lago estate today. ABC's Stephen Portnoy says he was also asked about RFK Jr., his nominee to head Health and Human Services.
President-elect Trump defends his choice to lead the federal health agencies, saying Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is much less radical than his critics may think.
I found him to be very rational. No, nothing. You're not going to lose the
the polio vaccine. That's not going to happen.
But when asked at a Mar-a-Lago news conference if he supports schools continuing to require vaccines, Trump said he doesn't like mandates, and he pointed to increasing autism rates in the U.S.
There's something wrong, and we're going to find out about it.
The medical community insists there is no link between vaccines and autism. Stephen Portnoy, ABC News, Washington.
German Chancellor Olaf Scholz lost a confidence vote in the German parliament today. The European Union's biggest economy now on course to hold early election in February. You're listening to ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. Salt County recently added a new Assertive Community Treatment, or ACT team, to help people suffering from serious mental illness. The county is partnering with Odyssey House. ACT Director Lindsay Boughton says it's often referred to as a hospital without walls.
Bring all of the services that a psychiatric hospital provides to an individual in the community, because this group of workers at the hospital felt like people would be coming into the hospital and gain some stability while they were there, but then would be discharged to the community, and there weren't adequate community-based services for these individuals.
Boughton says that they try to help people who are frequently seeking help at hospitals, homeless shelters, and jails.
The goal is to help them manage their symptoms better so that they can live a more fulfilling life and gain a little bit more stability. And so ACT teams help with a wide range of things for our participants, including medication management, therapy, case management. We help people get into housing and apply for benefits.
Boughton says the financial support from the county is very important to the success of the program.
You know, until we have a certain number of participants that we can bill Medicaid for, we can't meet our costs. And so starting a new team is certainly expensive. And then we also have a lack of affordable housing for our participants. So it's really hard when we have people on our team who, are trying to make positive steps and gain some stability, but they have nowhere to live.
And you've been listening to the KSL In-Depth at 15 and 45. Let's take a look at your drive. Traffic and weather is brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the Dino Pay app. Here's Ricky Meese.
It's pretty quiet out there. Freeway traffic volumes are lighter than normal. And what traffic is out is moving right along, whether you're on the freeways or the main secondaries. We have had some spots of sometimes busy traffic on southbound Bangerter Highway between the 201 junction, 3500 south, but nothing major. And the final cleanup of a crash at 13th South and 3rd West. Arrive in style in a great fitting suit from Mr. Mac. They ensure a perfect fit, offering fast, free alterations by expert tailors at all 9 Mr. Mac stores. Arrive in style. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, mostly cloudy today with a high of 46. Later tonight, looks like some showers will work into the northern Wasatch Front, mainly the Idaho border picking up the activity. 45, partly cloudy tomorrow. Into Wednesday, mix of sun and clouds, 47, rising to 48, mostly sunny on Thursday. High pressure in place. That means we could see haze as early as Friday and Saturday. Sunny but hazy, highs near 50. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 43 degrees downtown. The 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. Quick check of the markets at this hour. Looks like the NASDAQ, S&P in record territory as the markets start to weigh the fact that the Federal Reserve could soon raise or lower interest rates, raise them. That would not be good. How about lower interest rates? Complete update of your money news coming up next.
This holiday season, give the gift of joy with Mrs. Kavanaugh's chocolates. Imagine the delight on your loved ones' faces as they unwrap a box of their handcrafted gourmet chocolates. From creamy caramels to chocolate-covered treats, each piece is made with love and the finest ingredients. Family owned for over 60 years, Mrs. Kavanaugh's offers a tradition of quality and care. Whether it's their famous chocolate-covered nuts or their decadent fudge, Mrs. Kavanaugh's has something to make every holiday moment sweeter. Find the perfect gifts this year for your family, friends, and employees at MrsCavanaughs.com or visit their retail store to explore their holiday specials and delicious corporate gifts. Order now and make the season unforgettable with the magic of Mrs. Cavanaugh's chocolates, where every bite is a memory. Share the sweetness.
The impact of a meal goes well beyond feeding our bodies, because when people don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they can truly thrive, like Marta.
And now we'll hear from our class valedictorian, who with our hard work never ceases to amaze us. Please welcome Marta Moreno.
And Alex.
Hey, Alex, how did the interview go?
I did it! I got the job! I can't believe it!
I knew it. Let's meet up later to celebrate.
And Diego.
Mom! I got first place at the science fair with my volcano project.
That's amazing, sweetie. Congratulations.
Because when people are fed, futures are nourished, and everyone deserves to live a full life. Join the movement to end hunger at feedingamerica.org/actnow. feedingamerica.org/actnow. A public service announcement brought to you by Feeding America and the Ad Council.
Common Spirit Health has expert orthopedic care that gets you back at it and back to your best. Find skilled orthopedic physicians at Common Spirit locations who specialize in general orthopedics and repair of hips, knees, shoulders, and hands, so you can return to running races or chasing the grandkids. Common Spirit Health. Hospitals, clinics, and caregivers all connected to advance healthcare in Colorado, Kansas, and Utah. Orthopedic care with human kindness is here. Visit mountain.commonspirit.org.
It's official. KSL Sports is your official radio home of the Utah Hockey Club. When the puck hits the ice this fall, you'll hear every goal, every check, and every tension-filled moment on the KSL Sports Zone. Plus, let your voice be heard on the Utah Hockey Club Fan Forum on KSLSports.com, your exclusive home of the NHL and the Utah Hockey Club in Utah is KSL Sports and 97.5, the KSL Sports Zone.
KSL quarters for Christmas time, 12:24. A 3D hamburger is hanging on by its fingertips on In-N-Out Burger's latest Christmas sweater. The green striped sweater has words "just trying to keep it together this Christmas" written just above the burger. The sweater will cost you $69.95, and it is available from small to XXL. Watching Utah's money, Lamborghini CEO says the company will launch its first electric vehicle in 2029. Reuters reports the Italian car company is delaying production by a year because they believe the market isn't ready for an electric sports car. A recent report shows American homeowners have a net worth that is nearly 40 times higher than renters. CNN reports the median U.S. homeowner has a net worth of $400,000 compared to a median renter's net worth of just over $10,000. Bitcoin reached a new record high yesterday, passing $106,000. The Wall Street Journal reports that cryptocurrency's price has increased by more than 50% since President-elect Donald Trump's victory in November. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by 19 points, so just a bit. It sits at 43,810. S&P 500 is up by 31 points. That's 0.5%. The NASDAQ is up by 255 points. That's more than 1.25%. A baseball from Game 1 of this year's World Series is sold for over $1 million. The ball was hit out of the park by Los Angeles Dodgers first baseman Freddie Freeman for a grand slam in the bottom of the 10th inning, becoming the first walk-off grand slam in World Series history.
The KSL News Radio app will update you on breaking stories.
A house explosion this afternoon.
And you'll get exclusive audio streams from local events, breaking news, and sports.
Cougars feel like they can overcome anything.
All of your favorite KSL hosts are there too, so you can listen anytime. Plus traffic and weather. Download it today. The app for KSL News Radio. Jeff Kaplan.
I'm energized by breaking news. First of all, because it's right now, and second of all, because in many cases the audience needs to know. There's no more important service that we can provide, and I find it critically important to get more details to the audience as quickly as possible. There's nothing more energizing than that for me. Not at all. The most important thing we do is breaking news. I am gratified that so many people listen to me every afternoon on KSL, but what they don't know is that there are so many people behind the scenes making it happen, checking on the traffic, answering the phones, making the calls, talking to the newsmakers. They're out in the street, into the field to get the raw information, and then putting it all together so that I can sit in front of a microphone and be a source of information every afternoon. But there are so many people who make it happen. That's what you don't know.
Ride Home with Jeff Kaplan, weekdays 3 to 7 on KSL News Radio.
Giving the gift of time during the holidays is a hallmark of the season, but the need for kind hearts and an extra pair of hands is here all year long. You Serve Utah is encouraging Utahns across the state to pledge now to serve those in need in the coming year. You and your family will help spread the holiday spirit long after the holidays have passed. When will you pledge? To sign up, visit www.userve.utah.gov.
Join Ton and me for the KSL Greenhouse Show live at ARUP this in Sandy on Saturday. That's December 21st. Help grow the blood supply this holiday. The first 30 donors receive a poinsettia courtesy of Olson's Greenhouse. You can also visit utahblood.org. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the DinoPay app. Here's Ricky Meese.
We do have some delays now. Northbound I-15 in Layton. They do start prior to Hillfield Road, and they continue through Layton up by Antelope Drive, maybe even a little further. They do seem to clear out by the time you're hitting Antelope and into Clearfield. I'm not getting a report of an accident in the area, although I can see one vehicle out of traffic over to the right shoulder in that stretch. But it does look like we have work crews out, and this is on I-15 in the Clearfield area, and so that might be part of the reason we're seeing the backups there. In his new book, The Rock of Our Redeemer, David A. Bednar invites us to strengthen faith by anchoring our lives to Jesus Christ. Available now at DeseretBook.com and in stores. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Mostly cloudy skies today with a high of 46 degrees. Late tonight, early tomorrow morning, might see a little bit of valley rain and mountain snow. 30 in the overnight. We'll go 45 tomorrow, partly cloudy by Tuesday afternoon. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy skies in downtown Salt Lake City, 42. St. George, not much warmer with 48 degrees. In Price at this hour, it's 37.
You're listening to Utah's New News with Maria Chaleos
on KSL News Radio,
102.7 FM and 1160 AM.
Good afternoon. KSL News Time, 1230. KSL's top story this hour. Madison, Wisconsin police have revised the number of dead from a school shooting to 2 plus the shooter. Initially, police had said there were more killed. ABC's Alex Stone has more.
What led up to the shooting isn't yet clear, but Madison Police Chief Sean Barnes says 911 calls began coming in just before 11 a.m. at Abundant Life Christian School.
We're still going through, collecting evidence, collecting information.
When police arrived, the shooter was dead. They did not fire any shots. Multiple others were injured in the shooting. Alex Stone, ABC News.
We are expecting to get another update from Madison Police in the next few minutes. We are following the latest developments in Huntsville, where workers are still looking for a water system leak. KSL News Radio's Adam Small has the latest.
It's been a long crisis for our town.
Huntsville Mayor Richard Sorensen says with the amount of water they were losing, they think part of their 4,000-foot pipe is completely fractured. He tells David Dujanovic once they find the leak, there's a lot they'll have to do to get the water drinkable again.
We'll have to send some guys into our tank, drain the tank fully, and then clean out the inside of the tank to get rid of any sediment.
Then he says they'll have to fill up the 1 million-gallon tank with a high dose of chlorine, drain it, and then fill it again. Sorensen says they hope to have this all done by Thursday or Friday, but with all that in mind, it could take a lot longer. The good news is it's possible they could land some state funding or grants to help pay for the fixes. Adam Small, KSL News Radio.
People in Eden, the town just a few miles away from Huntsville, have been helping out as much as they can, letting residents fill up their water jugs and providing safe drinking water. KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas lives in Eden. He says the water leak is just as much of a mystery to residents there.
It's a huge leak. I mean, the water supply in Huntsville is dropped to almost nothing, so there is a tremendous amount of water. But where it is, no one knows. And where the leak is, no one knows.
Skordas tells David Dujanovic the weather conditions in the area have been pretty good for the last few days. Hasn't been cold enough for the lake to freeze over or for the ground to freeze. Skordas says it's a huge help for the crews digging up the road and trying to find that leak. South Salt Lake has approved a plan to convert a former Motel 6 into a new homeless shelter for families. KSL News Radio's Candy Zalale has more.
This plan was approved after all city council members voted in favor of the plan. The Salt Lake Tribune reports homelessness advocates have been pushing for a new shelter for families since 2022. Right now, there are about 80 to 100 families on the wait list for Salt Lake County's only family-focused center. The new shelter will fit about 85 families and is set to open in spring of 2025. Candy Zilale, KSL News Radio.
Utah Tech University officials say their student food pantry has enough non-perishable food for the rest of the academic year thanks to a large donation from a local grocery store. St. George News reports Lynn's grocery store has donated $20,000 worth of groceries to the university's Blazer food pantry. Utah Tech Student Resource Center Director Drew Bottom says a donation will help students focus on school rather than worrying about where their next meal is coming from. Dental experts are saying sparkling water may not be the best alternative to soda. Associate professor at the University of Utah School of Dentistry, Mark Taylor, says you're better off drinking regular water.
And just the carbonation in and of itself is not near as healthful as just plain tap water or filtered water.
Taylor says the additional carbonation can make the drink very acidic with pH levels as low as 2 or 3 that can affect the teeth enamel. Other national stories KSL is following. President-elect Trump announced SoftBank is promising to invest $100 billion and create 100,000 jobs in the U.S. during his term. SoftBank founder and CEO Mayoshi Son says his confidence is up since Trump won the election.
I say, President Trump is a double-down president. I'm going to have to double down, $100 billion and 100,000 jobs. This is my confidence level.
The promised investment is twice as much as the company pledged to invest during Trump's first term. Senator Mitt Romney is reflecting on his career and where the country is going in the future. He spoke to CNN's Jake Tapper and says the country has overcome bad policies in the past, but there is another consideration.
Bad character is something we haven't had to live with, and so it's important in our leaders of all kinds that we have people who are honest and virtuous and are direct in a way that is not based upon personal interest, but is based instead on the national interest.
Romney says he did not support President Trump as a candidate because of his character, but he hopes that we see better in the coming years. We are less than 2 weeks away from Christmas, and Amazon could be facing strikes at 2 New York warehouses.
Amazon operates hundreds of warehouses across the U.S., so even if a strike at 2 of these facilities starts in the coming days, it could have a limited impact nationwide on the shipment of holiday gifts, especially if they're already out on the truck for delivery. So bottom line, Amazon packages should still arrive on time, but for all of the last-minute shoppers out there, still want to keep an eye on your tracking information.
That is ABC's Elizabeth Schulze. First look traffic. What's going on, Ricky?
Not too much if you're on the Salt Lake County freeways, but if you're northbound I-15 going through to Layton, we do have some delays. They will start prior to Hillfield Road. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL, quarters for Christmas time, 12:35.
Bigger stories demand more accountability, more experience, more trust.
If it's like an election day or we're expecting some bad weather, KSL presents the story. Unbiased. It's a good local source.
We have you covered at KSL News Radio.
This is a story of the one. As a maintenance specialist for university housing, he knows college students can major in wear and tear. Plus, housing so many students doesn't leave a lot of room to house all the supplies he needs. That's where Grainger comes in. With over 1 million industrial-grade products and fast, dependable delivery, Grainger carries the quality products he needs so he doesn't have to. From a new door hinge to a whole new faucet. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey everyone, it's Ted from Consumer Cellular, the guy in the orange sweater, and this is your wake-up call. If you're paying too much for wireless service, you don't have to keep having that nightmare. Consumer Cellular has the same fast, reliable coverage as the leading carriers for less. And for a limited time, new customers receive their second month free when they sign up and use promo code SECONDFREE by January 26th. So why keep spending more than you have to? Seriously, wake up and call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This Friday from 10 to 1, the movie show comes to Sound Sleep Medical. But first, Take the time to learn about a better night's rest. Sound Sleep Medical delivers oral appliance therapy that treats sleep apnea without the use of CPAP machines. They're professionally fit, warranted, and covered by most major medical insurance. End the days of a poor night's sleep. Sound Sleep Medical will help. Call Sound Sleep Medical at 801-716-8672 for details. Sound Sleep Medical.
Thank you for joining us for Utah's Noon News, recapping our top story. Madison, Wisconsin police have revised the number of people injured and killed in a school shooting today. Now police say 3 people are dead, including the shooter, and 6 were injured. KSL News Time, 12:38. A woman in Lehigh crashed into a gas station after driving with her dog on her lap. According to KSL TV, the woman told the police that her dog had jumped onto the floorboard. In an attempt to grab the dog, she accidentally hit the gas pedal and crashed into the gas station. The car hit a support beam. There was a minor collapse of the building. No one was hurt. The woman, however, was cited for reckless driving. Air pollution can not only cause respiratory issues, new research ties it to the risk of blood clots. KSL News Radio's Alessandra Gurr reports.
Breathing in high levels of certain pollutants can double and even triple one's risk of developing blood clots, according to a new study from the University of Minnesota. The experiment followed nearly 7,000 U.S. participants over 17 years and found chronic exposure to high levels of pollutants like PM2.5, airborne nitrogen dioxide, and nitrogen oxide significantly increases one's risk of developing venous thromboembolisms, which can cause clots that form in veins and can travel to one's lungs.
Only ozone exposure showed no link to increased clotting risk. There's a social media post going around in Utah that's offering some dangerous advice on what to do if you're alone and having a heart attack. KSL TV reports that the post suggests coughing strongly and repeatedly to keep blood flowing to your brain. But a cardiologist with Intermountain Health, Dr. Blake Gardner, says the American Heart Association does not support that advice.
Well, if somebody's having a cardiac arrest, it's basically death.
Dr. Gardner also says people should be aware of the common symptoms of a heart attack and seek medical attention as soon as possible. A new study found people who take more than 5,000 steps a day don't feel as depressed.
There is no magic number of steps a person should take in a day, but a new study of nearly 100,000 people found that those who took at least 5,000 steps per day experienced fewer depressive symptoms than those who did not. There was also a 42% drop in prevalence of depression for people who took at least 7,500 steps per day. More research is still needed to determine any other factors that might have influenced the findings. Brian Clark, ABC News.
Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the Dino Pay app. Here's Ricky.
We've had some heavy and slow traffic northbound I-15 in Davis County. It started in Layton, and now it looks like it's already moving through Clearfield and towards Roy. If you are going through this stretch, really not sure what's causing this. It could be anything from an oversized load to some slower moving vehicles, but right now you are going to see heavy and slow traffic starting right about Hillfield Road in Layton, and it will clear up by the time you're reaching Sunset. Just not sure if it's going to linger. If you're on any of the Salt Lake County freeways, you're good to go. Our main secondaries also clear. Looking for the best gift ever? That's what you get at Minky Couture, the original luxury blanket company. Use code KSL50 online and in stores to receive 50% off your purchase. Visit minkycouture.com. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Looking at predominantly cloudy skies today, highs right in the mid-40s. Late tonight into early tomorrow morning, we do have a couple of showers that'll work in, but it's not much. 30 in the overnight, warms to 45 tomorrow afternoon with partly cloudy skies. We'll then bump it to 47 on Wednesday, partly cloudy. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 42 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City. Coming up on Utah's Noon News, University of Utah Biochemistry Chair Professor Wesley Sundquist will join me, talk about research that he led at the U that helped develop a new drug to prevent HIV. That's coming up, streaming live at KSLNewsRadio.com and on the app for KSL News Radio. We are Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Temperatures outside have dropped a bunch, and now my family and I are enjoying the benefits of our brand new windows from Advanced Window Products in a different way. During the summer, it was nice to be able to keep the cold air in. Now it's nice to see how much more efficiently we can keep warm air inside. We replaced 20 of our builder-grade windows with high-efficiency windows and a glass door to our backyard with a built-in pet door, and we have just been thrilled with the results. We're already saving on our energy bill. We're helping pay for the windows with the rebate available through Dominion Energy. Our price didn't include any middleman markups because they did the sales and the installation all in-house. My wife and I love that there's a lifetime warranty serviced by their local team, labor, glass, parts included. I promise they're going to treat you right, and you'll have an amazing experience from start to finish, just like I did. Right now is a great time to do it. Also, they're having an end-of-season sale. Save $2,500 on 10 windows or more. 801-850-9100 or advancedwindows.com.
See the high-flying dunks, show-stopping blocks, and crowd-silencing threes at Delta Center this season. With an action-packed schedule, it's easy to get to a Jazz game. Pick out an unmissable matchup or just a tip-off time that works for you. It's time to put on your Jazz gear and head to the game. Come with a friend, a loved one, or as a group. See all available tickets and options at utahjazz.com or call or text 801-355-DUNK.
An airliner takes off from the Pacific Northwest, carrying 101 passengers and crew. Most aboard Flight 293 are active-duty military and their families, headed to Cold War assignments in Alaska.
Surveillance of the Soviet military buildup.
But somewhere over the ocean, with no distress call, the airliner plunges into the icy water below.
Even if all 4 engines quit, that aircraft would fly.
There were no survivors and no bodies were ever recovered. For decades, loved ones were left to wonder
what happened to Flight 293 and why hasn't there been any follow-up.
The government turned its back. Passengers and crew of Flight 293 were forgotten by everyone, except their families.
Unless we pursue it, we will never be issued a true explanation.
Unsolved Histories: What Happened to Flight 293 is available now. Follow us at unsolvedhistoriespod.com or wherever you get your podcasts.
KSL News Time, 1245. The 3 things you need to know this hour. First,
water is still undrinkable in the town of Huntsville. The mayor says they hope to have the problem cleared up by Thursday or Friday, but it could take longer. I'm KSL News Radio's Adam Small.
Second, Madison, Wisconsin police have revised the number of people killed in a school shooting. Police are now saying that 3 people were killed, including the shooter. Third, traffic and weather together, Ricky.
Heavy and slow traffic northbound I-15 going between Davis County into Weber County. It starts right around Antelope Drive and continues up to 5600 South Roy. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
Some very weak rain snow chances late tonight. Then it's high pressure. I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 42 degrees at the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Time now for KSL's top national story.
ABC News, I'm Michelle Franzen. This is a special report from ABC News. Wisconsin school shooting. Police in Madison still on scene at a Christian school where officers say a student went on a shooting rampage. The death toll revised as officers gather new information. At least 2 were dead, along with the gunman and several others injured. ABC's Alex Stone with more.
It was just before 11 a.m. in Madison when shots were fired at Abundant Life Christian School. When police arrived, Chief Sean Barnes says a shooter, who was a juvenile, was dead.
What is a sad day for our community and for our country.
Investigators say they aren't yet clear on what led up to the shooting, but police say there is no ongoing threat to the community. Alex Stone, ABC News.
Parents told to go to a nearby site near the school. Police and school officials working to reunite students with parents. The Wisconsin State Superintendent calling the shooting senseless and, quote, says it's time to change has long passed. This is ABC News.
Time now for the KSL In-Depth. The new drug is showing extremely promising signs to prevent HIV, and the research that led to the drug's creation started at the University of Utah. University of Utah professor Wesley Sundquist led that research team. He joins me now live. Professor, thanks for being with me.
My pleasure. Thanks for having us.
Describe for us how this all got started.
So in our lab and in several other labs here at the U, Chris Hill and Owen Cornelis, we've been studying how the HIV capsid assembles and how it functions. And Gilead Sciences took that work and really did an amazing job of developing an inhibitor that binds to the capsid. And what's very exciting is it lasts for 6 months in people and prevents transmission. So it's been named Science's Breakthrough of the Year.
Wow. What was it like working with the pharmaceutical company to develop this drug?
So I should say it was largely independent. I was a consultant, but they're wonderful scientists. They did an amazing job, especially of the medicinal chemistry and also the testing of the compound.
So you mentioned the trials and how effective this drug is, but do you have any idea when it could be available to the public?
Yeah, so they've completed 2 very large phase 3 clinical trials. The results are now finished, and they're now applying for FDA approval and have also reached an agreement with several drug companies to make generics available in developing countries. So it should be imminent.
You mentioned the high accolades that you're getting. Have you ever experienced anything like this on another type of drug?
No, this is our first example, and it's been fun, but of course we're all excited to see how it really does when it's rolled out very large scale.
Yeah, do you have anything else on the back burner that we should know about?
Nope, I'm not being coy. This is our big thing.
Professor, we appreciate your help. Anything you'd like to add that maybe I haven't asked you?
I don't think so, just that Gilead did this amazing job, but also that they're really trying to create a way to develop for the 120 poorest countries and most effective to have an economical way to have the drug available, which could really make a difference in the pandemic.
Congratulations, Professor. Thanks for being with me.
Good. Back to you. Thank you.
Mm-hmm. Live on the KSL Newsline, that is University of Utah professor Wesley Sundquist. Traffic and weather together. It's brought to you by Sinclair. Save on every gallon with the Dino Pay app. Here's Ricky Meese.
Well, no freeway crashes reported at this time, but we do have freeway slowdowns, and it's northbound I-15 as you go between SR 193 7th South Clearfield to 5600 South in Roy. These delays started in the Kaysville and Layton area and have just continued to move forward. If you're in Salt Lake County, all the Valley freeways and main secondaries are looking good at this time. Teens can get up to $200 with a Teen Learn and Earn account, plus continue earning rewards as they master the essentials of finance. More at cypresscu.com/teen. Ricky Meese in the KSL Traffic Center.
KSL 7-day forecast, 46 today, mostly cloudy skies. There is a small storm system that'll likely impact predominantly the Idaho border, but we could see some showers out of it late tonight. By tomorrow, dry, partly cloudy skies, 45. 47, partly cloudy on Wednesday. High pressure in full control Thursday, Friday, and Saturday with haze building in the valleys, highs in the upper 40s. 47, partly cloudy with a small system trying to work in here by Sunday. From the KSL Weather Center, I'm Matt Johnson.
Mostly cloudy, 42 degrees in downtown Salt Lake City, and the 7-day forecast is brought to you by Performance Automotive Bountiful. A lot of action on the NASDAQ and the S&P 500 today. Not so much on the Dow. A complete update of your money news coming up next. KSL quarters for Christmas time, 12:51.
It's the happiest time of the year. In this season of gift giving, you know what they really want.
A dolly that laughs and cries? A hammer and lots of tacks?
They want emergency preparedness supplies. No, really, holidays and birthdays are a great time to give the gift of preparedness. Imagine their surprise when they unwrap an emergency alert radio.
Honey, this is wonderful.
How about smoke detector?
Oh, I'm gonna install these right now. Yeah!
Or backpacks for disaster supply kits.
All right!
Holidays are a great excuse to give preparedness and peace of mind to those you care about. Showing them how the gift fits in their emergency plans increases its value exponentially. For more information on how you can prepare for disasters, visit beready.utah.gov. Be ready, Utah. A message from the Utah Department of Public Safety.
Hi, this is Doug Wright, and over the years, you've heard me praise the Connecticut soft water systems. You've heard that so often you might be tempted to chuck a shoe at your radio. Well, hang on, because I've got some great news. Get this, Connecticut will pay you $50. I'm not kidding on this. They'll pay you $50 to buy a competing water softener from another dealer. Ready for the rules, though? Well, they're pretty simple. Invite Connecticut of Utah to your home for a free estimate on a Connecticut water softener. If within 60 days of hearing them out, you buy any other system from any other water softener dealer, Connecticut of Utah will fork over $50. That's how sure they are that after hearing them out, you won't settle for anything less than a Connecticut water softener. Now, this offer does expire in 30 days, so don't delay. Call Northern Utah's authorized Connecticut dealer, Connecticut Quality Water Systems of Salt Lake, 801-576-8600, or log on to softwaterutah.com. That's softwaterutah.com. Tell them Doug sent you.
Are you suffering from constant fatigue, joint pain, or digestive issues? Do you have brain fog, anxiety, or depression? Have you seen multiple doctors and still don't have any answers? Have you been told over and over that your blood tests are normal, but you're just not feeling well? At Transformative Medicine, they use specialized testing to find the root cause of the problem and then use cutting-edge therapies to treat it. Call Transformative Medicine today at 844-TALK-2-DOC and receive a free consultation. Finally, get to the root of the problem and have the answers you've been waiting for. Don't wait to get your life back. The first 25 people to call Transformative Medicine at 844-TALK-2-DOC will receive a consultation absolutely free. That's 844-TALK-2-DOC. 844-TALK-2-DOC.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
KSL News Time, 12:54. A scientific breakthrough could give women struggling with fertility new hope.
A baby born in Peru this month is the first in the world conceived using a new IVF technology that matures eggs outside the body. The procedure, called Fertilo, reduces hormone injections and shortens treatment cycles from weeks to just 3 days. The CEO of Game 2, the company behind the advancement, says Fertilo marks a turning point in reproductive health and could benefit women unable to tolerate traditional IVF regimens. But the procedure in Phase 3 U.S. trials could still be years away from FDA approval. Dave Packer, ABC News.
Watching Utah's Money, Christmas is just 9 days away, and shipping companies are reminding people it's time to send out any packages if you want them to arrive before the holidays. USPS says you will need to mail your package out by Wednesday if you want it to arrive before Christmas using normal service. If you're willing to pay more for Priority Express, the last day to send your packages is on Friday. Volkswagen and union members are meeting today as both groups hope to end the strike before Christmas. Reuters reports both sides are ready for talks to last several days to try and reach an agreement. Egg prices went up over 8% last month. CNN reports that is the highest monthly jump in about 20 years. Shoppers also saw prices for beef, coffee, and other non-alcoholic beverages go up in November. And taking a look at your money at this moment, the Dow down by 11 points, sitting at 43,818. S&P 500, though, it's up by more than 0.5%, up 32 points. The NASDAQ up by almost 1.5%, up 261 points. The Tabernacle Choir, Temple Square's annual Christmas concert starts this week. Guest artists Ruthie Ann Miles and actor Dennis Haysbert will join the choir to ring in the Christmas season from the 19th to the 21st to full-capacity audiences